Thomas Jones and Jamal Charles. Without them two, they're not going to win games.
I'm with you on the run. People run all over us like crazy.
I think they're going to trickle through and realize that Fitzpatrick really is what they need on the field.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starter.
They cut Trent and they got rid of Marshawn.
The line did not block either way.
To Stevie Johnson, that was just heartbreaking.
The Bills have to learn how to win. They got to learn how to shut the door.
You're just talking about quarterbacks? I don't think the Bills need to draft a quarterback.
Hi, and welcome to the Buffalo Pregame Show for Week 1 against the Kansas City.
Yeah, first game.
Woo! All right, top story. Matt Castle, rib injury, last game of the preseason. Nakia, go.
I'm hoping that he plays only because I don't like playing against backups. Because you never know what you're gonna get because you haven't really studied him. So I'd rather him play and go for the person we know. If we knock him out the game, that's a whole different story. But I would rather see him start.
All right, Randy, what?
I don't think there's a way that he doesn't play. Todd Haley's from the Belichick tradition. The injury report's just part of the smoke and mirrors routine that he's going to run every chance he gets to try to get a mental advantage or whatever he thinks on you. I expect Castle to play. If any other reason, the Chiefs are all in on the Matt Castle bandwagon. Palco's taken a few snaps as a third stringer last year, and he's just not the long-term answer. That being said, I would like to see Kyle Williams and Marcel Darius show that they know he has hurt ribs too. Let's be that team that goes out and you have a weakness, but we're going to expose it. Let's get those big guys hitting him in the ribs. It's really the only place you can hit a quarterback anymore anyway.
All right, offensive breakdown. There's a lot of new starters on offense. Will Haley know Gailey's game plan? What do you think?
I don't think that the fact that they coached together 2 years ago is big a situation. Gailey had very different tools in Kansas City than he did here in Buffalo. I think the most important thing about the new starters list that we have here in Buffalo is what's missing. You can find me one informed fan in all of America who doesn't think that Garrard's a better starter than Fitzpatrick. But there's not a single report where Buffalo is mentioned as a possible suitor for Garrard. Everyone knows the Bills have given up on this season. They've got as much money invested in their team as they're going to. We haven't tried to improve our team by trade or by free agency. We just have to accept the Bills are giving up and hope for Andrew Luck next year.
No optimism there. I don't know.
It's still the first game. We have a 500 record already, and we've given up. Which I'm with you on the whole Garrard thing. When I heard he got cut, I was like, yes, maybe the Bills will go after him. But I know realistically that's not going to happen because we're not paying anybody.
We could face him next week. Raiders are talking about picking him up too.
Yeah,
They're crazy.
All right, defensive breakdown. How will the new front do against Jones and and Charles? All right, so what do you think of Nakia?
It'll be interesting to see how our defense plays, especially with Sean Merriman being back in there, and we still have Kyle Williams, and of course our first-round draft pick. We have to see was he worth the pick. Our secondary is also pretty much not the same as it was last year, so it'll definitely be interesting to see, how those guys mesh together because during the preseason, they didn't look so great. So I'm hoping that they all come together and we can stop Jamal Charles and the rest of the group.
What I want to say though, pertaining to what the Chiefs offense or defense is thinking about us, since we don't have all those starters on offense that we had before, maybe they're underestimating what we have as wide receivers and as weapons. I think that they're underestimating us. I think they will, and I think Fitzpatrick will do better because of that. Or what do you think?
On our offense?
Yeah.
I think the wide receiver core is mediocre at best. If Fitzpatrick is going to find places to connect, it's going to be in the seams, maybe one of our no-name tight ends or CJ Spillick on the backfield. But then again, the Chiefs' defensive secondary is a bunch of no-names too. I don't see them coming up with huge turnovers. I don't know. Say what you will about the Chiefs. A lot of people are saying they're an up-and-coming team. I think they're mediocre at best. I think we need a strong play from our defense. Our linebacker core is going to be key. We have the best defensive line that we've had since Bruce Smith was on the team, so we've done the best we can there. Our secondary is not going to come up with any pressure sacks, so we really need confusion and strong play from the linebacker. We kept 11 linebackers on the final roster for this team, and we really need a good rotation to keep Merriman healthy on the other veterans. But I worry about, as we go down the depth chart, the quality of play we're going to get from your 11th linebacker on the team.
Yeah.
We really need the linebackers against a mediocre team to come out and show they can dominate someone, because if not, the next 2 weeks we're really in trouble on defense.
Yeah, I need to see it all this season. I'm worried. I mean, if the draft pick does good, I think we'll decent. I mean, we could stop it last year, but I think we're more mature than last season. All right, now it's time for a segment that Ryan will be doing weekly on the show, and here it is.
Welcome to the first rendition of Worse Than the Bills, where I search high and low for a franchise that is in fact worse than the Bills. This week's franchise, the Orlando Titans of the National Lacrosse League. They started off in New York, and in their 4 seasons in existence, they won or were tied for first in their division every single year, though they were the bridesmaids of the NLL, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, never winning the championship, similar to the Bills. Even though their good record, they could only survive 3 years in the biggest city in the country when they moved to Orlando, became the Orlando Titans. In less than the season, the players were suing to get the payment from the ownership. They weren't getting paid for the games. These players make like $14 grand a year. You could sell 7 beers to cover these people's salaries, and the ownership wasn't even following through with that. They went defunct despite their regular season championships, and are no longer in existence. So, sorry Orlando Titans, you are worse than the Bills.
Alright, and now it's time for the keys and picks of the game. We'll do keys first. Nakia, what's your key to the game?
I think our key is our defense. We spent money on defense. We picked a lot of defensive players. So if you're going to spend that kind of money and all those picks, then they need to step up and stop Jamal Charles. And if Matt Castle plays, not that we need to be dirty, but his ribs are hurt. He might need to sit on the bench for a while.
I agree. My only thing with I was gonna kind of say like defense, but my only thing with that was that even last time we played them, we played the bend not break. So I think even if their offense gets like 200 yards rushing, I still think we have a shot at the game. I don't know. It'll be very disappointing, with all the stuff we put in our defensive line, but I don't think it's key. My key to the game is those wide receivers that I talked about earlier. If they get involved, Fitzpatrick can get them involved, and they can exploit the Kansas City cornerbacks, I think that we'll do good. What's your key?
I think we need to do the one thing we've been so miserable at the past couple of years, and that's get an early start. Let's see a touchdown on the opening drive. We're on the road. Let's shut those Kansas City fans up. Like, what do they have to cheer for? They're raging meth addictions. Forget the Kansas City Chiefs fans. Let's score early and stay right on top of them.
All right, and now it's time for the picks of the game. My pick of the game is the Bills will win their first game of the year and have a winning record for first time in a long time. And they'll win 28-21, which is...
I'm going with you. I want us to start the season out on a good note. But I'm going with 24-21 last minute Ryan Lindell field goal.
Okay, what's yours?
I'm going to say the Buffalo Bills are going to get more than doubled up by the Kansas City Chiefs. 27-13, the Chiefs take their home opener.
Yeah, the Kansas City fans are pretty meth addicted. All right, now I would like to thank you for joining us this week. If you have any questions you'd like to discuss on the show, leave the comments. Also, we kind of want to make the show better. We're always trying to improve. So any thoughts on that, you can leave those comments also. Sorry for being sick this week. My voice is a little hoarse. It happens. People get sick. And join us next week for the Raiders.
All right, week 1 for first win of the season.
Even though you didn't pick them.
Yeah.
The Raiders. We're gonna beat the Raiders.
We could be 2-0 after the first 2 weeks easily this year.
And welcome to the Bills pregame. Excuse some noted absences, but in their place, Justin, off the couch.
Yeah, I actually had to shave the beard today, you know,
I didn't.
obviously. But
The Bills won their game.
holy
Winning record.
Hey, not only do they have a winning record, they have the best record in the NFL based on point differential.
You sure it's not alphabetical order?
Oh no, point differential is a tiebreaker when you're going league wide.
Excellent. The Bills also have the best quarterback in the league by quarterback rating.
And ESPN total quarterback rating. So, two different metrics. Fitz beat out Brady, beat out Rodgers, beat out Chad Henne.
But we did lose Levi Brown from the practice squad.
Yeah, I don't get that one. Do you?
I don't know.
Do you?
Are we talking about practice squad movements?
Well, hang on. Do you agree that he played better than Thigpen in preseason?
Absolutely.
Then why the hell is Thigpen on the roster?
Because we had $4 million to burn.
Actually, we have probably more than that, but be that as it may.
So, this Bills win. You look before the season, some people might have seen a victory here. I personally didn't. I'll eat my crow.
I definitely did, but
Does this win mean anything?
yes, it does. It means 1/16 of a season, so 6% of the season. It means that much. That all said, you get off to a 2-0 start against the Raiders this Sunday. Hey, we can start maybe talking about finishing 500. Not quite playoffs.
I'll tell you who this game did mean something to, and this win meant a lot to Chan Gailey. He went on before the game and said that he would like to win this game playing his old team. And you never hear coaches, or at least coaches in Bills land, talk like that. I mean, having been raised by Dick Geron the past couple of years, as vanilla media presence as there
You
is,
got intercepted.
having Gailey come out there and say that, yeah, this game means a little bit more, I liked it. I liked where that was coming
You know what? If I got fired from a team the week before the season started, I would be doing everything to run up the score. Chan actually
And it did.
Actually, I wouldn't even call 41-7 a run up. If we got in the 50s, yeah.
We could have 55.
Yeah, we
scored
could
2
have.
more
Yeah,
touchdowns.
I mean that's with Thigpen in the field on the fourth quarter. But yeah, we could have.
So, is there any chance we get to see our backup this time around? Is there any way we can have a second performance like that?
Maybe if Al Davis is returning the coach. I mean, after all, who's Hugh Jackson?
Who is Hugh Jackson? He looks like a Raiders coach, though. He really does.
Yes, because the typical Raiders coach is anonymous. How can we repeat last week's performance?
Well, the line needs to hold up again. Watching the Raiders game this week, Seymour looked like he's playing with a chip on his shoulder, so we need to find a way to contain him. He's still pissed about getting cut out of the AFC East, I think, and he wants back where real football is played.
Well, yeah, the West Coast teams just suck in general, both AFC and NFC. If the Bills were in either of those, they'd have a legit chance at playoffs. Yes, I said playoffs.
Playoffs?
Beyond that, what about Rolando McClain? Do you think he's going to be an impact?
Playing next to Seymour. Seymour's going to get a lot of the attention. The Bills' offensive line, they show up the way they did this week. We might be able to run away from him. You know, C.J. Spiller's fast in the backfield. We saw a lot of good.
Action Jackson ran pretty darn well.
We saw a lot of good
Oh yeah.
misdirection in the backfield
Oh yeah,
last
counter
week.
plays and
we'll
actually there was a lot of pulling linemen, especially from Urbic and even Demetrius Bell pulling on a few plays. That was good. Beyond that, one thing that will be interesting to me at least is Michael Huff still has a job in Oakland. Remember that he was picked 2 picks before Dante Whitner. And
where is he?
well, Dante Whitner's in La La Land, you know, out in nowhere. Irrelevancy. Irrelevance. That's where Dante Whitner is. And you know what, Michael Huff? I can't even say that he's been better than Whitner.
But he's playing on a worse team.
Well, that's just it. The Raiders' defense hasn't been that bad. Their offense has been god-awful over the last so many years, especially with Jafat-ass Russell, you know?
Now, defensively, do you think Merriman's going to keep getting the attention he did?
Oh yeah, he drew double, triple teams.
He didn't put up any numbers, but he drew the attention. It was clear that the Chiefs knew where he was every time he was on the field.
Well, you also got to see Darius getting a lot of push as well. Chris Kelsey didn't look horrible.
Chris Kelsey getting announced as outside linebacker makes me giggle, but it was good to see him stepping up and making some plays.
The fact of the matter, the Bills are using Carrington as an outside backer as well as just meaning the Bills are committed to stopping the run this year, and it showed, especially with Jamal Charles only getting 10 carries.
Fantastic,
And
but that's a lot because
it's outside of 2 big runs. He did nothing.
we jumped up to a lead right away and took their game plan out of their hands.
I mean, the only time we got yardage was when we were sitting back in cover 3 and cover 4D. So yeah, I can't exactly say that Kansas City did all that while running. Their numbers stated that they got over 100 yards, but the Bills were already up when they got a good chunk of those yards. Our producer is pointing at something that is just a giant glare. I think it says, "How do we stop Darren McFadden and Michael Bush?" But
they're a lot faster than we are. They're a fast team, and I think where we get the advantage as a physical team, we need to go out and push them around, punch them in the face. Jason Campbell, I've watched him for years in the NFC East. You get some pressure in his face.
I'm sorry you watched him.
And you get some pressure in his face and he falls apart. I like our chances of keeping them off their kilter. Denver's just not good, I don't think. I think we'll be able to...
Jokeland, not Denver.
Denver's defense just wasn't that good at stopping the, Hayward Bay, Darren McFadden, Jason Campbell. And I think
even Marcel Reese, their fullback, was getting into the action. So, I mean, the big thing I think would be just try and stop the middle. McFadden's not exactly a weakling, neither is Bush. They do have a lot more strength than you're giving them credit for, but at the same time, yeah, they both have the burners as well. Be that as it may, Jason Campbell, he proved that he isn't an elite quarterback, but competent when he has time. That's not good enough when you're having a team that can actually rush the passer. I mean, if you have Merriman facing double, triple teams, well, you got 8 guys trying to block or run away from 11 or 10 other guys, and it's not exactly a numbers game there. We have an advantage. So
now it's time for what would be my favorite segment of the week, worse than the Bills, but
everyone is.
Everyone's worse than the Bills. The Bills have a winning record, so until the Bills
actually start losing,
start acting like the Bills, we're gonna have to put worse than the Bills on the back burner.
Well, what we can do at least
There's
is
such a great intro to that too.
You know what? Here's one we could do to replace it for the time being. Rodney McKissick of the Buffalo News was overheard saying, yeah, just watch it. The Bills are going to blow it during the halftime. How many people underneath comment on this? How many of you guys, when did you finally think that the Bills were going to win? At what point? For me personally, I was looking at the 2-minute warning and going, all right, maybe they'll win now. Because
no one finds a way to lose like the Bills.
Yeah, nobody does.
Snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
All right, well, the topic of the discussion here.
Oh, yes.
From
our friend in Tonawanda, what's his name? Dave?
Dave? All right. Dave in Tonawanda, is Fitz good enough to be the future? Well, you know what? One game doesn't prove enough. You got to have more than one. I'd say if he gets a whole season like he played Sunday, well, he'd be Peyton Manning plus infinity there, but if he just...
I'm so hesitant to make a for sure decision on this.
I mean, last time the Bills had stability at quarterback was Flutie, maybe? I don't know, but we always had Rob Johnson trying to come into the lineup. Kelly then.
I very vividly remember telling Brad Ryder as an intern in 2008 that there's no way that Dick Duran wasn't going to win Coach of the Year come week 4 or 5. and he got that contract extension, and look how miserably that went. So I am really hesitant after week one.
Our quarterback turned into a vegetable.
Week one for our the typical Bills fan knee-jerk reaction. I don't know if he's good enough to be our future. I don't even know if week 6 I'd be confident saying it. We'll see how this season goes. I like what I see so far. I mean, you have to be a lunatic to not say that he did fantastic this week.
Yes, and this is the first time he's gone in as the number 1. So.
Does that make such a big difference?
Well, yeah, because you're
Professionals
getting.
are professionals.
Well, no, because you get more reps as the number 1 guy. As a coach myself, my starters get a lot more attention and reps in practice than my backups do. It's just the way it works.
And that graphic means it's time for keys to the game.
He's telling us to move on. Let's go.
Let's go. I think the Bills need to out-physical the Raiders for this game. The Raiders are a fast team. We don't want to get burned on the outside. Let's see Darius, Merriman pound stuff up the middle. Let's see Jackson lay out someone offensively. And let's beat them in the physical game.
I agree. The physical line needs to be happening, but I think the offensive side's more important. I think that Wood, Lefetri, and Urbic need to be pushing Seymour and Kelly, make their lives live in hell. I want to see Freddie and CJ being able to run wild on them.
Your picks?
Well, I'm going to say the Bills are going to win 27-17.
I've got the Bills too, 31-19. And with that, we want to know, where is Brian Brown?
Here's a moment for our fallen soldier.
He would have been the first overall pick.
He would have been.
He would have been.
If he came out a year early. If you know where he is, comment below so we can bring him on this show. We want Brian Brown on this show. Until
All right.
then,
Have a good night.
stay classy.
Hi, welcome to the Buffalo Bills Pregame Show for the New England Patriots. Woo! Woo! Yeah, we're 2-0, Bills fans. When's the last time this happened?
The bandwagon is up and going.
Hell yeah! All right. So it's dress-up day here at the show. Obviously, we're all kind of dressed up. We're all fired up about this game. I know I am. Can't wait to go to it. All right. So let's talk about this a little bit. Who will the division leader be? You know, and will the streak against the Pats end? You know, the 15 losses in a row. Randy, how about you first?
Well, I do think the Patriots will be the division leader after this game. When I was growing up in Eden, playing for the Little Loop Baseball League, we were the Eden 39ers. There was one team, convenient, that we would beat every single year. And we all knew we were the second worst team in that league, but there was one team that was worse than us, and it was Convenient. We never lost at Convenient. And I know that Tom Brady is talking to his players right now and saying, we are the New England Patriots. We are printing the best team in the league, and we do not lose to the Buffalo Bills.
All right, Nakia, we played them close, you know, a couple times here, you know, a couple blowouts. That we're at home. I know we got a little momentum. They let in a lot of points. We'll talk about that in a little bit. On their defense, can we win this?
I think it's still going to be another close game, but I think that the Pats are going to outscore us. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. We've, scored 38 and 41 points. I think it's still going to be the Bills and the Pats.
So do you think we can score like up to 35 points?
Yeah, because the Pats let you score, but they just score more.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, like I said, the Pats defense hasn't been very good. It's like 60-some points the last 2 games. What do you think you're going to do for that?
You have to win a shootout against these Patriots. You have to hope that you can force turnovers on defense. Their defense is going to allow you to score points. They're not the vaunted defense that they were.
Can Freddie keep it up?
I don't see any signs why he can't. He is driving hard. His
the rushing
core is
leader
strong.
right now. Yeah.
He is looking fantastic on the field. CJ Spiller,
Yeah.
getting contributions from him.
Definitely.
It's fantastic.
All right. How long will this Roscoe injury, do you think, impact the Bills? Do you think, if at all? I mean, the game he was flying all over the place, and he dropped the pass and everything. But is this going to affect the Bills at all?
Well, he's on IR, so he's done. And unfortunately, this is the second year in a row. We've always had a problem with injuries. I'm hoping that Roosevelt, since they brought him up to the roster, will step in and do his thing. You know, he's a UB guy, so of course we're rooting for him. So I just hope that he lives up to the hype. I mean, he doesn't really have a choice.
I was talking to some Bills fans at that game, and I forget who the other receiver was for the Bills. I don't even know what the name was. And they were all saying, I think our producer's trying to tell me his name, but they were all saying, why the heck is he on the field? Why don't they have Naaman Roosevelt out there? And I think he should be out there. So, but what do you think? I mean, since we're losing him and we're kind of relying on Naaman Roosevelt, what do you think Spiller, on top of that, you know, how can we use him more? You know, as in tech, I think he'll get in more. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he can do more. He can do more pass catching now with because Freddie Jackson is running. He doesn't have a problem with that. So let him, you know, kind of become a catching running back. He can handle it, I think. So when you got both of them in there, it's not a given that it's always going to be a run. So I think it's going to work out for the best.
All right. Now let's talk about the defense. All right. How do we stop this Pats offense? The key, I think, is pressure Tom Brady. You tell me.
Absolutely. The formula was created when the Giants beat them in the Super Bowl. You pressure Tom Brady, and that's the way you beat the New England Patriots.
But what about our DB, or not our DBs, our defensive line? Can they get to him?
I don't think our three defensive linemen in the 3-4 package alone are be able to get to him. We have to show creative blitz packages and surprise Bill Belichick. Let's try to out-coach Bill Belichick for once. We haven't seen that. I don't think Dick Duran went into thinking there was a chess match the way Belichick does.
I just think that, I think we've kind of figured it out. And I think that our coach, he's kind of figuring out our offense. Our offense has figured out where it is. And I believe that we can get up a lot of points, like we said. What do you think, Nakia? What do you think the impact of the Gronkowski brothers, since now that their other tight end is out, now both Gronkowski brothers, and what do you think it's going to have with that?
It's going to be interesting to watch because with us, if you spread out the wide receivers, tight ends, if you spread out the line, our DBs are lost.
Yeah,
you send them out there. Jason Campbell was able to throw the ball down the field and just, rip us apart. If, they stay kind of close, it's fine. But when you got two guys that can catch.
And they're both big.
Yeah.
Both Gronkowskis, they're freaking big guys. And I don't think that our small DBs can cover them. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah, they
Even
might.
with Puz Leslie in there, who was like a halfway decent, linebacker, I just don't think he can do it.
Yeah, they might be able to knock him down very easily. So it's going to be interesting to watch to see if they step up and try to keep them in check.
All right, now it's time for our topic of discussion. And it comes from Oz from California. And he says, can Darius and Kyle Williams pressure Brady? Now goes back to what we were just talking about. Can we do it?
One-on-one matchups, I like our chances. If they have a chance to double team our best defensive lineman, we're not going to have a prayer. We need to see Sean Merriman contribute. Let's see him get some pressure on the quarterback. I mean, anyone. I would take quarterback blitzes. I mean, maybe George Wilson can recruit other wide receivers to come play defense and get some pressure. Anyone. I'll take pressure from anyone. We just need to hit Tom Brady, hit him early, hit him often.
All right, now that we've gone through all that stuff, we're just going to put up a little graphic here showing the last, couple of Pats games, or the last 15, I'm guessing, that we all lost.
Warning, this next clip is not for the faint of heart.
Not at all. Oh my gosh, that was an ugly video.
Right. I remember that one.
That was terrible. Alright, now we're just going to share with you our where we were, and what was happening in the world the last time the Bills beat the Pats, 31-0. I was at the game. Roddick had won the U.S. Open. Saddam was still on the run.
Living in a cave.
And
I heard he watched the game though.
And our producer got a track phone, so that was great for him.
His first cell phone.
That's kind of scary.
Way to show up late to that.
I was actually 11 years old. It's pretty bad. What about you?
I was actually at that game too. How old was I? Almost 30. So It was interesting. And Roddick hasn't won since either. Maybe if we win, then
He's
Roddick will
old.
win next year.
He's old. All right.
I was a freshman in college, still dating my high school sweetheart. We watched the game together.
Oh, that's cute. All right. Now it's time for our keys and picks to the game. My key to the game is pressure the frick out of Brady. You don't do that, you're not winning. What about you?
I hope that Tom Brady stubs his toe really bad in the hotel room.
All right, how about you?
I'm going with our DBs. I think they got to step up.
All right, I agree. All right, picks of the game. I'm gonna pick. You guys can go first. Nakia, why don't you go first?
Unfortunately, I think this streak is going to continue, but I think it's going to be a great high-scoring game. I'm going with the Pats for, let's say, 43-35.
Okay, what about you?
I love the on-the-spot choice. I think the bandwagon will continue riding hard no matter what the result of this game is. Bills fans are hooked, and we love it. I say the Patriots are going to win this game 48-35.
And I'm gonna go against both of you because I love the
brave man.
Bills, and I'm gonna say the Bills are gonna win 40-35. I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Let's bet.
All right, no. Thank you for joining us this week.
Thank
join
you.
us next week for the Bengals pregame.
Thank you for our record viewers last game.
Go Bills.
Oh my God, Lindell, you gotta make this. If you don't, you will be worse than Norwood. We did it!
Hi, welcome to the Buffalo Bills Pregame Show for Week 4 against Cincinnati Bengals. Alright, reactions on last game, that's how we're going to start this show. My reaction is, that's crazy, man. Breaking the 15-game losing streak. I have never been to a Pats game at home when they've won. That was the first game in 6 years of me going to home games with season tickets that I was actually, it was more than just a game for me. It was, beating Juggernaut. It's beating one of the best teams in the NFL for the last 10 years. So, I mean, that just meant the game meant so much to me, as I know it meant so much to every other Bills fan. What about you?
I work overnight, so I woke up and the game was 21-0 Patriots, and I'm like, I have to sit down and watch this catastrophe. I stood riveted to my seat. I went outside when the game was over to make sure that the Bills had won across the street. It was I still don't sure if I believe it. It was incredible. It's a great season to be a Bills fan.
All right, what about you?
I actually didn't get to see the game. I was on a wine tour, but we were getting live updates. So when they were losing, 21-0, everybody was kind of sad. But of course, we scared the whole winery when we all screamed, a bus of 44 women screaming because the Bills won. So it was a great day.
Actually, and funny thing was, at halftime, I was thinking, all right, well, if they can just get 10 points into that 21-10 at halftime, I was thinking, all right, well, then maybe we can come back. And like we did with the Raiders game, I was thinking, maybe we could do that and shock them, and we ended up doing it, so it was crazy. All right, our producer put together a little package that he's going to show you about him watching the game and his little trivial thing they had with him not going to the game. He was kind of thinking he was going to, but he didn't end up going, so here it is.
Why did I set the alarm? Oh, the game.
All right, I'm about to go to the game. I have everything. I'm just basically wearing my Fitzpatrick jersey and jeans because, well, you know, it's supposed to be a really nice day out. My aunt Denise is picking me up in about 10 minutes, so, or maybe it's my Uncle Jim. Good morning. What? No, that's fine. I understand. I mean, I wanted to watch the game anyway, so, I mean. No, I'm fine. No, I'm good. Just enjoy it. I'll talk to you later. Okay. Apparently I'm not going to the game. The guy who I was going to get the ticket from is now going, so I'm not going. My theory, I want to say this before the game, my theory is that Ocho Cinco is the curse for both the Bengals and the Patriots. Ocho Cinco has never beat the Bills, ever, right? I think that if we beat the Patriots today, the Bengals curse crosses over to the Patriots, and we beat the Patriots because of Ocho Cinco never beating the Bills. Therefore, the Patriots can't beat the Bills. The final 3:25.
2:25 left. Just don't give the ball back. Yes. Freddie, go! Freddie, go! Go, go, go! Oh my God, touchdown! Oh! We go! We're gonna give him the ball back now! Okay, refs. Belichick isn't king of the world here. Start the game.
Oh my God. I'm starting to feel it, and I don't want to until the game's over.
What? There's no fumble. No, there is no fumble. There's not a fumble and a kneel down. Jeez. Hey. Hey. He kneeled the ball down. You can't hit the guy. False start. Guys, we're just kneeling the ball. Come on. Come on, please. Oh. Oh, Belichick, you better shake people's hands. If you don't do that, you're an ass.
Bills won. Bills beat the Patriots. The Ocho Cinco thing I mentioned. That's the curse now. Now we know. So, even though we beat the Patriots, we will lose to the Bengals.
Alright, so let me ask you guys, do you agree with Jared's theory about, the Bengals will win because of that?
I'm a big baseball fan. I believe in being due and hits coming when you're due for a hit, but I just don't see how the Bengals will be able to put this together. I think the Bills are just going to outclass them in every aspect of the field, special teams, offense, and defense. I don't like their chance of beating us this year.
Alright, what do you think, Nakia?
I agree with them. Marvin Lewis is guaranteed to win. I think they need one, but I don't think they'll get their win this week. So
So you don't think they'll end the streak?
no, not
They
at all.
do need to win.
I personally, I don't think they're going to end it. We're going to go into what we think, the reasons why we think not. But honestly, just the Bills, the way they played, the way the coaching staff's been, I think it's just, the football gods have crapped on us for 10 years. And just to give them a random win like that when we're playing so well, I just don't think it's going to happen. So let's go on.
I think it's important to note that the Bengals were the only team in the power rankings that were listed below us to start off.
Let's kind of mention that because I think that's amazing. That was the first thing we kind of bitched about in the beginning of the season. We are the second worst team in the NFL. I don't think so, and we've proved it. And I'm really proud of the Bills for doing that. First time in a long time that I think we can be proud, even though there's a long season to come. But yeah, okay. Now breakdown. Bengals D, obviously. It's better. I think we kind of agree with that. Better than any of the ones we played so far. Even though the Patriots, they've done so well, but I don't. Obviously their defense has holes. So how will our offense impact their defense, or defense impact our offense?
I think our offense has done a great job this year of dictating the terms to the defenses we're playing, and I really like that. I'd like to see us pick on Nate Clemens. Let's score a touchdown on him. I think Fitzpatrick's going to keep on throwing the ball around. Someone's going to have to start covering Chandler at some point in the season. He's been catching touchdowns with no one anywhere near him. So I think we're going to have good matchups available to us offensively.
What do you think about the Bengals, D?
They're kind of like, I would say kind of like a group of no names that have kind of been playing well, but
It's kind of like us.
yeah, they've kind of been playing well, but they haven't, I don't think they've got it together yet like everybody else with the short off season.
You know, they've played a lot of low-scoring games.
Yeah, so they are doing something, so it may actually be a good game because with the other defenses that we played, they haven't really actually stopped us.
Yeah.
So if they can actually stop us and our offense has to score, it'll be interesting to watch. But I don't think they'll be able to shut us down completely.
All right. Well, Nakia, let's talk about the offense here. Their offense, like we said, hasn't scored a lot of points. What do you think you do against our, I kind of think not stout, but they're pretty good defense this year. What do you think?
The Bills defense has actually surprised me. I was on the fence about them. So I'm actually surprised that they have kind of done a little better than I expected them to. They're still, last couple of games we gave up a lot of points, but luckily we were able to outscore the opponent. But with the Bengals offense, they haven't really been scoring, so I don't think we'll have a problem stopping them. I think our defense will finally, hopefully, live up to the potential that at least we here in Buffalo think they have.
What do you think about the defense? Because, honestly, against their offense, honestly, like, our defense, I think, if they would have played, less experienced offenses, obviously against, not Kansas City, but Oakland, I think, and the Patriots, I think those are awesome offenses. I think that if we would have played a crappier offense, our defense would have looked like amazing. So do you think that might happen in this game?
For sure. I mean, when was the last time our defense had more or bigger names than the offense we're going against? I mean, the Bengals offense is a mess right now.
They're missing their right,
their right guard.
And we just still don't know if Cedric Benz is going to play because he's in appeals with the NFL.
Yeah.
And Kyle Williams is going to have a good matchup. Andy Dalton, he's a rookie quarterback. I liked him in college, but I just don't see our defense getting beat by a redheaded quarterback. I just don't see where they're going to get the offense together against our stout defense. We were concerned about the linebacker depth, and even with not huge contributions from Merriman, I mean, we're still getting good play from them. Our defensive line is stout. Our weak secondary had 4 interceptions last game, so you got to like where we're standing.
I just think it's coaching. You know what? In those 4 receptions, maybe there's some luck in there, but honestly, all the coaching, our defensive line coach we picked up, what's his name? Stash, or whatever name. What is it? I forget his name. Juan Stash. I'm sorry. That's all I know him as. We picked him up. And you know what? I think those coaches have gotten our defense to where it needs to be, and the players that maybe are underperforming under other coaching staffs, I think that they're playing at.
Our players are finding themselves in the right place at the right time.
And I think it's all about coaching.
Absolutely.
I think it's all about coaching. All right, now it's time for the keys of the game. My key to the game is just make sure that defense can't shut you down. If you put up points like we have been putting up points, it's gonna be a joke. What about you?
I'm going with you with the defense. I think we have to show that we can shut people down. Like I said, everybody's been scoring points on us, and unfortunately we've been outscoring them. So now the defense has to step up and show that we can shut somebody down outside of Kansas City.
This could very possibly be a trap game coming off an emotional win. I think on the road, what we need to do is dictate the pace of the game. Offensively, slam the ball with Freddie Jackson. Defensively, stop the run. Make them force Andy Dalton into situations he doesn't want to be in with huge defensive linemen breathing down his neck.
So do they stop the streak? I don't think they do. We'll do picks of the game. My pick of the game is I think the Bills are going to win 30-10, honestly. What about you, Nakia?
I'm going with the Bills to win too, but since we've been going down in points, I'm going to keep us going down. I'm going to say 28-10.
Okay.
31-17 Bills. Go Bills.
High scorers. All right, join us next week for the Eagles game.
All right, Michael Vick, bring it on.
Their run defense is horrible, but they have a really good pass defense.
Down. Pregame Show for Week 5 against the Eagles. All right, this week we got a couple things to mention. We're playing the Dream Team and the Dog Killers team. Now, I don't know if you noticed. You haven't noticed. Obviously, we haven't seen it. You'll see it in the show. We have a dog in the show today. It's his dog, Goku. Hooray. All right, on to the story. Top story, injuries. I was listening to John Clayton over the week, and he said this before the Cincinnati game, that injuries are the biggest. We're not deep at a lot of positions. If we get injuries, obviously it hurts any team, but if we get injuries, it's going to kill us, and it's starting to happen. So Justin, why don't we start out? Why don't you name me some injuries, tell us how they're going to affect the Bills.
Well, Demetrius Bell going down, that means that we have a rookie, Chris Hairston, protecting Ryan Fitzpatrick's blind side. Could you please slide that back? On the Eagles side, we have Trent Cole out, which is a huge one because he provides a ton of pressure. And then you also have Jason Peters, which means maybe lights out, we'll be able to run down Vic. Maybe. If not, Mode's batting somebody.
Yeah.
That's huge. They lose a Pro Bowl tackle. Anytime you have injuries, you're going from having your top guy playing to your bottom guy getting some playing time now. Yeah. And you're only as strong as your 53rd guy.
No, we didn't put this on our board here, but I just want to mention, Craig Irvin's back,
should be back.
Keith Irving, I'm sorry. So he's back. So why don't you give?
And you remember Demetrius Bell did not have a good preseason. He did not look good at all. So
and he's actually picked it up throughout the season.
He's definitely picked it up, and hopefully Hairston has been behind him, picking up the same things, and maybe he'll be able to play at an advanced level.
Okay, well, so speaking of the offensive line, do you want to mention injuries or?
Injuries?
Do you want? Because we can go right into offensive breakdown.
Yeah, we can.
All right. So what do you think? Do we need to change the strategy? Have the other teams, figure this out? Or so? Can you mention what you think on that?
We didn't get a chance to try to stretch out Cincinnati long, and I think opening up some space between the linebackers and the cornerbacks to get the running game going would be important. But the strategy, the spread offense, spreading out the defense, quick hits to our receivers,
against the number 1 defense in the NFL now.
And giving your running backs room to run, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
With that all in mind, I don't think the strategy was at flaw with the Cincy game as much as, officiating first off. I watched the first quarter, I'm like, okay, I guess they're not calling holding on Cincy. Oh, I guess they're not calling pass interference on Cincy. Let me rewind that. And I lost it with the Nelson call. That was bull. That was pure garbage.
It was like watching a New England game in terms of reffing.
Oh,
we had to go out and beat the refs and the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's always a tough group to overcome.
Well, that's really true, especially with the David Nelson call, where they're calling him for pass interference when it was a screen behind the line of scrimmage, and the catch.
Yeah.
That was just atrocious.
All right, so why don't we talk about the Eagles, the defense? They have a bad run, and they have a good pass. You want to mention some names for their DBs? Some hard names to pronounce, obviously. Our producer thinks I can't pronounce them, so I won't say them.
Okay. Can you say Nnamdi Asomugha?
Nnamdi Asomugha.
Okay. Can you say Asante Samuel?
Asante Samuel.
They're both Pro Bowl quarterbacks.
Yes.
They're starting. You got to do what you can to spread out the field because you don't want to be throwing at those guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry as much about their safeties too much, but you got to more or less worry about.
So is Freddie going to run it all over the place? What do you think?
Well, their weakness is right up the middle. So if we can consistently get the ball,
I don't know. I'd have to beg to differ there just a little bit. Colin Jenkins is a solid D tackle. It's more that they get gashed on the one cut and go.
They've been running the offense our defense where they have 9 men up front, and if they don't get solid linebacker play, you get through that first level, you have a good chance of breaking a long run. And Freddie Jansen is so strong through that first line that even if he doesn't have someone on his back, he'll drag him a couple.
Well, the rationale of stacking the box with that team is you got 2 lockdown quarterbacks. You shouldn't have to have 7 in the box. You can blitz the hell out of every quarterback with those 2 corners, at least in theory. And against the spread offense, that's probably not going to work as well. So,
All right. Now let's go to our defense. How do we stop Vic? Our defense has been pretty good. I think it's stopping, quarterbacks. So we would pass rush them, or we spy, or what do we do?
Well, Honestly, I think you have to defend Vic a lot like Tom Brady. And with Tom Brady, you have to get pressure up the middle to really knock him off the game. With Vic, you got to contain him and let Kyle Williams, Terrell Troop, Marcel Darius get him up the middle and just make sure he doesn't run outside. That's the biggest thing. You cannot allow him to run wild and do the Michael Vick experience like he did in Atlanta.
No, I think we stopped there.
The one consistent thing that Michael Vick throughout his entire career has been is injury prone. He puts
Yes.
himself in situations where he can get hurt. And when he does that, we need to take advantage of it. We need to hit Michael Vick when he comes out of the pocket. And I think a lot of this has to go onto the crowd. The Buffalo Bills, when we're good, our crowd makes a hostile environment. And
Yes.
when they get down towards the rock pile trying to score a touchdown, I want to hear pandemonium in the stands and the fans just getting into Michael Vick's head. as he gets-
I'm thinking the rock pile might have whistles in the crowd this week, you know. All right. That all said, you can't ignore LaShawn McCoy either. He is a very good running back too. You can't ignore that threat.
They have weapons all across the field.
Of course they do.
All right. Now it's time for our topic of the day. Our topic of the day is the contracts. Obviously, you know our top three players: Fitz, Stevie, and you guys have to mention Jackson. So what do you think, Randy?
I think that we got the Buffalo Bills
They should
franchise. They got burnt by Dick Duran, and Ralph Wilson's really hesitant to, after a quick start, make any commitments to the future. You know, the Bills' pattern seems to be dragging their feet as long as they can. I absolutely agree that
Why
we
did they
need,
sign him?
we need to lock these guys up long term. I'm still on I'm on the seesaw with Fitzpatrick. I'm not sure.
What kind of deal, please?
Well, it depends. If we get a great deal with Fitzpatrick and we can sign him long term for an amount of money that's not going to prevent us from improving our team in the future, but I don't want to see him get like Peyton money.
Well, yeah, he's not worth that at this point. What I think the rationale behind it is allow them to show their stuff and showcase. If they do their job, they're still on the team, and that's going to allow the Bills an easier way to get to the salary floor.
But why don't I think a lot of teams that are better, you know, they sign guys right away? I mean, not better, obviously, when there's teams now.
Well, that's just it. I think if they show their stars, they're going to get paid like it. Unfortunately, I think one of the two is going to get signed, the other is going to be franchised this year. With Freddie, he's got another year beyond this year, so.
Oh, does he?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
he does, but he's
Very good.
underpaid.
All right. Yeah, definitely. All right, now it's time for the keys and picks of the game. All right, we'll let them go first. Randy, go ahead. Get your key.
Like I said earlier, I think we need to get in Vic's head, the crowd be real loud. We need to hit him when he runs up out of the pocket and get pressure on him while he's there.
And Justin, what about you?
Well, I agree. I think you got to contain Vic and pressure him up the middle. Those are the big things there. You get on his case and make him play poorly, the rest of the team can't do anything.
And mine is the crowd freaking noise. Going with him. All right. Bills fans were crazy last Pats game. I can't believe the atmosphere in that stadium. It was like Monday Night Football against the Cowboys the last time I played. And it was freaking amazing, okay? And I loved it.
Bills fans love a villain. When a villain comes in.
Exactly, Dirty Birds.
I remember being, when Merriman came back after his steroid suspension, Buffalo fans gave him hell. Whenever
Brian Cox, when he'd flip
And I think we're going to be, I think
when Chara comes to town for the Sabres, we give him hell.
I think
Buffalo fans love a villain to root against, and I think Vic is going to get hell the whole time.
And I think we're going to easily, like, home field advantage this year. Like, where other years it might not have been because we sucked. You know, so like home field advantage. Let's go Bills fans. All right, now it's time for the picks of the game. My pick is the Bills will win 30-24. Randy, what about you?
The Bills are going to squeak one out, 27-24.
Okay, and you?
Well, I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit lower score. I'm going to say 23-21.
And the only reason I say that is because every game is close. I agree with you. Every single game, the Bills just like they taunt the out of us and win a game by a field goal or some stupid freaking play.
Oh, it's not for Kansas City.
All right, join us next week for the home games. Join us next week for the Giants game in the new Meadowlands Stadium.
And Rex
in
Ryan,
New Jersey. It's in Jersey.
Rex Ryan calling out the AFC East to beat the Patriots once in a while. Let's see him pony up and beat the Patriots.
Well, as long as somebody's not sucking on his toes.
Go Bills!
Go Bills!
Go Bills!
Buffalo Bills pregame week 6 after a big victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. 4-1. People talking about playoffs around town. You have to love Buffalo when the Bills are good. Top story this week, Perry Fuel coming back to town. Perry Fuel, of course, was the interim head coach before Chan Gailey took over. And it was, in fact, Fuel who gave Trent Edwards finally the bench and put Fitzpatrick in the starting position. So, Nakia, you think Perry Fuel feels some extra pressure coming into Buffalo? He wants this game?
I'm not so sure if he'll feel any pressure. I think he'll make sure that his defense plays, the way he coaches them to play. I mean, it seems that since our defense is pretty much coming around, it may turn into a defensive battle because he wants his guys to show, that he was a good coach.
Jared, the familiarity that Fuel has with the Buffalo Bills, do you think that's going to be an advantage to them, or has Chan Gailey come in, change up the personnel, change up the scheme enough that we are kind of past Fuel's time here?
Well, I mean, the problem is we don't really know what's going to happen because we've never seen Gailey versus Fuel before, unless you really want to go back and look at Gailey versus Fuel in the Bills-Chiefs games back when Tyler Thigpen was the quarterback. That's really the only time period and reference you got when those two really went head-to-head. And, well, when they did, there was a lot of high scoring, unfortunately. So that doesn't really help Perry Fuel out that much, which is good for the Bills since we're coming to New York to play Perry Fuel. However, what we should keep in mind, though, is that Fuel, like Gailey when we played the Chiefs, is going to have... He wants this game. He wants it. He wants it to happen badly. So we got to just look for that. He's going to be riling up his defense probably more than most games because, let's face it, he was a good idea for a coach, and we didn't go with him.
I liked him as a head coach. Do you think the Bills are going to be feeling the pressure as the underdog, or they perform better in that situation going into the game with the Giants' favor?
No, that's a good question. The reason I think it's good. I'm glad because here's the thing: all year, whenever we've not been favored, we've won. The only game we were favored was the Cincinnati game, which we lost. So you know what? I don't care. Well, let's be the underdogs every game. We'll go 15-1.
Do you think we have a lot of time left as underdogs, Nakia?
Not too much. I think it depends on how everybody else performs because it seems that when we have to come from behind, that we can win. Sunday was the first time where we actually had a lead, kept the lead and closed it out. So, I mean, it all depends on, how we continue to perform because it's like, yeah, we may be the underdog and we kind of show it and then all of a sudden the light bulb goes off second half and then all of a sudden we win. So, we got to be consistent. We got to play 4 quarters.
I know the city of Buffalo loves the spot we're in. Us being the underdogs just makes us more likable, and I think that Bills fans couldn't be happier. I don't know too many people who are really worried about this game, and a year ago, knowing they had to face the NFC East coming up, we were much more scared then than we are now, for sure. The Giants, our offense, their defense, are we going to be able to move the ball against, maybe 2 years ago was one of the top tier defenses in the league. They've suffered some injuries. Jared?
I honestly don't think we're going to have a problem as long as we stick to the running game. Chan Gailey, I don't know if you thought this, Nakia, when you were watching the game, when you were there, but my first thought was, oh my God, Chan coached. He did what he had to do. He's running the ball. He loves passing the ball. We know that. But he was running Fred most of the time. And that's, unfortunately, for Chan, we have to do that against the Giants. They're not a good run defense now either. Like, they've had a lot of injuries. Chris Canty's now going to be in because Jimmy Kennedy was suspended 4 games, I believe. So, I mean, that's O.C. Umenora is not nearly as good as he used to be. Justin Tuck is out. Like, they have some issues on the Giants side of the ball. So, we're going to, I think we're going to be able to pound the rock and do exactly what we did last week, to be completely honest. I don't know about nearly 200 yards, but I think that's what needs to be the game plan going in offensively.
We've got 5 games worth of tape on the Bills offense right now. Do you think this is a week where C.J. Spiller gets used more, Nakia?
I hope so. I mean, I hate to see the Bills draft these #1 picks and not use them, or they turn out to be busts. And I think part of his reason is we haven't used them. I don't know if they don't really know what to do with them because Fred Jackson is running so good, so they just kind of let him sit the bench. And I'm like, dude, you got bench behind the old guy. So I mean, he's not that old, but compared to him, you know, he's a first round draft pick and he doesn't start. I mean, how often does that happen? It happens often here in Buffalo. So I'm hoping that they figure out to use them both. Yes, I like the run, but I also think that we kind of need to know when to switch it up. And sometimes it was like you should have been passing, and they would kind of stick to the run. So I'm hoping that, you know, they figure out how to use them both.
Now, if you've been watching the pregame show for any time at all, you all know that we're all huge Naaman Roosevelt fans. Nakia, do you think that Donald Jones' injury is going to have a huge effect?
Oh yeah, I'm hoping that he steps up to the plate. That's what you want to see. You want him to see now that he's given the opportunity. He can show people, yes, I'm from Buffalo. Yes, I went to UB, and I'm a good football player. So, you know, he may open a door, you know, for, you know, other people. We got, you know, Mike Williams playing down in Tampa. That kind of puts Buffalo on the map sometimes. So I'm hoping he steps up to the challenge.
O.C. Umenyiora may not be the player he was, but he may have some advantages, the matchups on the defensive line as he moves around. Do you think there's any place in particular where the Bills have to worry about O.C. coming from?
Yeah, I mean, if Chris Hairston's only starting the second game, and last week he played against the backup, he did pretty well, but let's face it, he played against Daryl Tapp, who's a backup. So this week he's playing against O.C. Umenyiora. I think Hairston's going to have a tough game. It's really his time to show that he can be a real starter in this league, and I'd love to see him do well so we can prove that. I mean, I'm happy with our two tackles right now, but it's always good to know that we have that third one there, just in case. So I'm looking for some good things from Hairston, but it's going to be a challenge for him. He needs to really prepare. I don't know how much more he can prepare, but, you know, it's going to be a challenge.
On the defensive side of the ball for the Bills, Hakeem Nicks and Manningham, they're both willing to go over the middle. We all thought going into the season that our linebacking core was going to be a strength, but we've had some inability to stop some offensive production up the middle of the field, running and passing. Do you think that there's anything that we need to change, or we have a better chance against this group?
I don't know, because they're a pretty tall group of guys, and our DBs aren't that big. So that may be the challenge for them. And with anybody, if you spread them out 9 times out of 10, it's a first down. And that's not a good thing. That everybody kind of knows that all you have to do is spread them out, and you can run up and down the field, you know, all day, every day. So that's something that they really need to work on. I mean, for some reason, George Wilson, I don't know where the light bulb went off at, but I don't think he's heard his name called that many times ever in his whole entire career. We heard his name more that Sunday than we probably have heard, you know, his whole entire career. So
11 tackles.
whatever happened or whatever he did this week, he needs to keep doing it.
AFC player, our defensive player of the week this week, George Wilson, congratulations. A big fan of the show, I heard.
He did have a conversation with Justin at practice.
Did he?
They had like about a 5-minute conversation about actually the lockout. That's a true story. I'm not making that up.
I've been a long-time fan of the NFC East. I've watched Eli's entire career. So much of the Giants depend on whether or not he shows up. Like, which Eli is it going to be? We talk about disrupting the quarterback every single week, it seems. It's a fundamental here in the NFL. What do you think the Bills are going to be able to do against Eli Manning?
Well, he's been kind of a flip-flopper in terms of his good weeks and his bad weeks. Last week he had a bad week, so God, I hate to say this. I think he's going to have a good week. Plus, I can't stand what Eli Manning did during the draft. I go back to the draft all the time with Eli. He picked his team. Like, you just don't do that. Like who is he to pick what team he's on?
You're still caught up
I'm
over
still
that?
caught up on that. He should be a San Diego Charger right now, or maybe in the UFL after he got cut. Perhaps. I really don't.
The Vegas Gamblers?
Yeah, he could have been, no, the Las Vegas Locomotives. Anyway.
They misnamed that team.
Yeah, I don't understand. What the Gamblers? Anyway, we're getting off topic here. With Eli, he can do some good things when he sets his mind to it. I'll give him that credit. So, I think he's gonna do his homework, and I think he's gonna target McKelvin a lot. He saw what happened last week. I'm sure he watched film on the Eagles game. He knows what he can do. He's going to target the middle of the field. He's going to also use the run to his advantage because he's going to know that Kyle Williams, Terrell Troop are out. We're going to have to play around with Spencer Johnson and Kellen Hurd, and I hope they can do something.
All right, this week's topic of discussion, and I love these topics of discussion, the where are they now? And this is the one that hurts Bills fans the most. Scott Norwood, or actually maybe when you hear the answer, it helps them the most. I got two questions about this. We'll start with you. Jared's done some research. Scott Norwood, where is he now?
He is living in Hornell. Well, he's married with 3 kids, and well, for everyone on the show who is also single, I mean, I give him credit on that aspect of life. Congratulations on, finding some woman to love you after what happened. But anyway, what I'm gonna get at here.
Obviously not a football fan.
New York Giants fan.
Yeah, perhaps. But anyway, no. What I was gonna say was no. But he's
Bill Parcells' daughter.
to his credit, I don't know where we're going with this. To his credit, he's working a 9-to-5 job, and he's doing something with real estate. He's selling insurance, doing real estate.
Jared, Buffalo Bills, what do they need to do to win?
They need to run the ball. I said it before. I'll say it again. Fred Jackson Fitzpatrick just needs to feed Fitzpatrick needs to feed Fred Jackson the rock, and just let him do what he does best. And when we need to throw, we'll throw. Just run the ball.
Nakia?
I'm actually kind of with you on this one. I usually like defensive stuff, but I think we need to be consistent with it. We got to play 4 quarters of football. We can't, not play the first half and then all of a sudden let a light bulb go off second half. So I think the key is playing a whole game, playing 60 minutes.
That new Meadowlands Stadium is super impressive. Those New York fans are rabid. They don't have Yankees to root for. They've got spending money to go. There's no baseball playoffs. Losers. And so they're going to be crazy. I say we don't get scared by the lights of New York City. We go in there, we score early, and we take control of the game early. Picks.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. I am actually going to finally pick the Bills this week. I'm going to pick them to win 23-20.
The most optimistic fan among us. Finally picking the Bills.
Yes.
I was going to say, I'm going with him. I haven't picked them maybe once this season. So I got to stick with my 7-9. So I'm actually going to pick them to win this one. But I'm going more that we're going to score because, their defense is a little shady. So I'm going 30-23.
I've been bit too many times choosing against the Bills. I'm picking the Bills in a barn burner, 38-31. Go Bills. Next week, bye. I'm going on vacation.
What are you doing after the bye?
Well, it's a 40-hour week here at the Buffalo Bills pregame, so I might go down to Ithaca, hang out.
That's great. Well, what's the game after the bye week?
The Redskins, NFC East, we roll through. Go Bills.
Toronto.
Roll Tide.
Welcome to the Buffalo Bills Pregame Show for Week 8 against the Redskins in Toronto.
Yay, go Canada.
Now, as you can tell, it's just me and Nakia today. So, Sean, Pennsylvania. Justin, he's busy. Randy, emergency surgery. So there you go. Okay, so let's get into our top story of the week. But seriously though, what do you think of these injuries? Do you think it's going to impact the Redskins? I look at this and I'm thinking, what are the Redskins going to do?
Hightower, I think, will be a big loss for them because he was the one that was doing most of their running. So I think he's definitely going to be a big loss for them. Merriman was just trying to, get into the swing of things. So I think we might notice that he's missing. And with Bell also, even though, I'm still not a big fan of our O-line, at least they were consistent this year. So now that we got somebody missing, we got to start all over again.
Yeah, it's still interesting to see what's going to happen in left tackle. We're not sure if it's going to be Bell or Levitri at this point in the week. Do you feel comfortable with Levitri being the left tackle?
Not really. Like I said, they're all so new and he was just, I think, settling into where he was. Now that he has to move, I think it might, throw him off a bit. And he's gonna leave. The quarterback's gonna be left wide open.
Yeah, and we also saw a really good pass rush with the Giants game 2 weeks ago, and that worried me because I feel like we're gonna enter the copycat league where everyone starts blitzing just like the Giants did. I think they found something, and if other teams find it, they're gonna start doing the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, let's move on to the offensive breakdown because actually that leads right into what we're talking about. The defense for the Redskins. I didn't really pay attention to them that much this year, but I looked at paper and Nakia, oh my god, like so many names. London Fletcher, Brian Arakpo,
D'Angelo
Hall, LeBron Rand. Now you know about my speech impediment, you know what I'm trying to say. LeBron Landry, there you go, Jared. So many people on the defense, it's ridiculous. And I'm trying to think, on one hand, there's so many names, but on the other hand, Carolina just scored 30 points last week. So which defense do you think is going to show up in Canada?
That's the thing. You don't know who's going to show up, and if the right defense shows up, like a couple of those guys, like London Fletcher, he's not old, but he's football old. So, if a couple of those guys decide to play their age, then we can score 30 points too. But if he decides to play like he was playing when he was here in Buffalo, then, it might be a rough game for Fitzpatrick. Because when I look at the Redskins, at least their defense from front to back, they're pretty much, they got us covered. So it'll be interesting to see how our offense reacts to a defense that, pretty much, all 11 guys on the field can pretty much hold their own.
Yeah, you can't really find many holes in this defense. I was trying to, and because I was trying to think, do we run, do we pass? And, what do you think we should do? I mean, I'm thinking run maybe. Try to do what we did the last couple of weeks, stick to Freddie, but...
I mean, if you kind of gotta see how the game is going. If the running is working, then of course stick with it. I don't know how much you want to really pick on D'Angelo Hall, but if you can find a weak spot and he's having an off day, then try it. But I think if we get it together, it's gonna have to be a combination of the two to get it done. I don't think if the run isn't working, then I think he has to wise up and stick to the pass and not just force it like sometimes we tend to do.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Now in terms of Brian Arakpo, now if you go back to the draft a few years ago, we picked Aaron Maben over Brian Arakpo. And the funny thing about that draft was Arakpo was ranked above Maben. We picked Maben 11th. The Redskins went ahead and picked Arakpo 13th. I mean, do you think he's going to look at this and think, oh my god, I could have made more money with the Bills. Now I'm going to show you what I could have done.
I don't think he could have made more money. We know.
That's
We know Ralph Wilson doesn't spend, major money, but I mean, he may look at it as, let me show you what you passed up on. So he may play just because, you guys passed me over and you didn't pick me. So I'm going to make you pay just like the other, 11 teams that, didn't pick me. So it could definitely be either a real defensive battle or it could just be one of those high scoring, back and forth type of games. It all depends on which guys decide to show up.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the defense. Like we were talking at the beginning of the show, the Redskins, they have no starting running back. They got no starting wide receiver. They have no starting tight end. So it all comes down to good old Johnny Beck, who was the third string quarterback last year. Is he even dangerous or not?
I don't think so, but then again, because you don't have enough on him, you really don't know, what he can do. So it'll be, hopefully our guys have enough that they figure, okay, we can try to figure out, or they adjust. If they watch him maybe first quarter and he doesn't get too out of hand, then they figure out, okay, this is what we need to do to keep him in check. But without a running back, it's not like if Hightower was there and you figure, he can't throw, he's just going to pass it off. But he doesn't even have that option now. So it's going to be interesting to see, how our guys react. They've been, getting interceptions. So hopefully, their streak will continue. Maybe George Wilson will, step up again twice in the same season.
Yeah. Now, Ryan Train, he used to be the starting running back for the Redskins. And then Hightower came in. And Hightower did an outstanding job. I was worried when I saw Hightower play, because he kind of came out of nowhere himself. Since Train used to start, do you think we're going to see a lot from him, especially since the running defense of the Bills is better this year, but still not on the top of this game, especially with Merriman being out.
I mean, I think like everybody else, they're gonna try it because they figure, you know, we've been weak, so we're gonna try to see if they've gotten any better. It's better, but you know, teams still run all over us. Yes, we've won, but we've still been run all over. And even in the wins and the losses, we've been run all over. We've just been fortunate 4 times to score more points than the other team. So, I mean, I think they'll definitely try it. Even if it is a win, they're still probably going to try and see what they can do against the run.
Yeah. Now, Sean Merriman, obviously he's done for the year. We've already said that. Who should start for him? Because they have Danny Batten listed as the starter. And he's made some plays. I can't deny that. When they show that graphic at the beginning of the game of who's starting, you see Batten there, you're like,
Like, who is it?
Well, I mean, I know who he is, but it's just...
But that's what everybody else is gonna say. Like, you had Sean Merriman, and then it seems like a complete drop off.
Yeah.
So that's the dilemma they have to deal with. It could be a good thing because he figured, now I have the opportunity to show what I can do. Like, nobody knows who I am. I can make a name for myself. So it's kind of a catch-22, just like with everybody else. It all depends on who shows up. If he wants to make a name for himself, I think he can do it.
The Keith Ellison days are over, so it's time to step it up, Bills. All right, let's talk about the topic of discussion. It comes from Lynn Bob again, and he wants to know, when are we moving to Toronto? Are we moving to Toronto?
I don't think the Bills are moving to Toronto. One, because is this game even sold out?
You know, it's going to be on TV. I don't even know if it's sold out, though.
Because the Bills, for the first time, actually sent out an email to season ticket holders to give us tickets for half price.
That's right.
So, I don't think that they're going to go to Toronto because they can't sell the games in Toronto. And people that live in Canada that come to Buffalo to tailgate know it's a completely different experience than it is when you're in Canada.
Right.
So I don't see us moving to Toronto in the near future. Even if something happens to Ralph Wilson, I think there are enough former players and enough people that will probably get together and say, hey, we're going to keep the Bills here in Buffalo.
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday, or not yesterday, a few nights ago when I was watching the Monday Night Football game that was in Jacksonville. Because you got Jacksonville, which is a team that they're thinking might go to LA because no one watches the Jaguars. And that's kind of an example of a team, even though they beat the Ravens somehow, it's an example of a team that the city really wouldn't miss them if they left.
We would miss the Bills.
We would just totally miss the Bills. Like, this town is so revolved around its sports, it's ridiculous. And I could give examples, but we don't have time. All right, let's talk about the keys to this particular game. Nakia, what do you got?
I think the key to the game for this one is the offense. The offense needs to score, and they need to score early because I don't think the Redskins can score, but their defense is definitely going to stop us. So I think the key to this game is the offense scoring.
I'm actually going to go on a different route on this one. And this is going to be a weird one. My key to the game is field position. I think that it's a strong possibility this game is going to be defensive based on the weaknesses, on the injuries of the Redskins offense and the players on the defensive side for the Redskins as well. I think could really make the game not like the Monday night game the other night, but pretty defensive, meaning that we got to play for field position and make sure that we're pinning them deep each time and not letting them into our zone. All right, what do you think about the game? What do you think the score is going to be?
I think with the week off, we're going to get back on track with that crazy loss. So I'm actually going to pick us the win because the Redskins are in a little bit worse shape than we are. So I'm picking the Bills 27, Redskins 17.
Okay. I had a score originally. I changed it before we shot, don't worry. But I'll just tell you, I was originally going to go 24-20. Looking at the last 2 games that they played and taking the 2 scores from that in favor of the Bills. But I decided to go 10 points below because I think it's very possible this is going to be a stagnant defensive game. I'm going with 14-10 Buffalo.
Interesting.
We'll see what happens. All right, well, next week we have the Jets, the New Jersey Jets, coming across the state lines to play us here in Buffalo. So we will see you next week, and hopefully we'll have more people on the show. You know, it might happen, it might not. It might be me, it might be a talking truck. We don't know. See you later. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Hi, and welcome to Buffalo Bills Pregame Show for Week 9 against the New York Jets. Alright guys, we're all the gigs back again. Woo! Fun times. My soccer's over with. And now it's time for the Bills. Alright, top story. Jets are 3-0 on the road. We're 4-0 at home. And the Jets are 0-2 under Rex Ryan after a bye. So is this saying that we're going to win? Nakia, I'll go to you.
Because the Jets haven't won on the road yet, then I'm thinking we have a good chance. It's a division game. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be intense. But I think because they haven't won on the road, and it's after a bye week, it seems like everything is going against them.
All right, well, you're preparing for a bye, so why do you think, Randy, why do you think that they have done so badly under after buys?
I don't know, Rex Ryan's always out doing something on vacation, whether he's taking his shirt off at a Devils game. Maybe he's just a little lax when it comes to vacation time, lets the team get loose. Who knows? I mean, we're extrapolating.
So do you think they're going to win or what?
I think the Bills are going to win, but I wouldn't guarantee this victory by any stretch of the imagination. The Jets are a good team. Mark Sanchez is hit and miss, as we all know, but he's a West Coast quarterback, so what do you expect?
I mean, I expect them to intercept Mark Sanchez a lot. The last time, I forget, was it last time or the time before that, they just completely destroyed him with interceptions. That's what our defense has done this year, and I'm expecting them to do it again with this raucous crowd at home, and just overall, like, our defense being, stepping it up last week. I think they're going to be good this week. All right, so let's do the breakdown. Impact of former players, Brad Jones, Aaron Maven, Jim Leonard, all former Bills, and all having success in New York. So, Nakia, what do you think is going to happen with that?
It'll be interesting to see Aaron Maven, especially since he was pretty much called one of the biggest first round busts from that draft year, because he didn't do anything. He got all this money and he barely played here in Buffalo. So to see him doing well, it kind of makes you think, one, do we need to spend more time with our first round draft picks, or two, was he just didn't want to be here so he didn't play?
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, just shortly?
Maybe he was friends with Marshawn Lynch and had a bad idea in town. I don't know. It just never seemed like he wanted to succeed here, and he's in the big lights in New York City and performing better. Who knows? All
right, so let's just talk a little bit about Spencer Johnson replacing Sean Merriman. Obviously, Sean Merriman didn't make that big of an impact. What do you think that's going to do to this team with Spencer Johnson in there?
Besides the name recognition going down a little bit, I think it's a lateral move in terms of talent. What Sean Merriman had to offer this year was negligible, and he will go down in Buffalo sports history as one of the biggest rip-offs that we've seen. I
think it's a rip-off. I think it's just like, oh, we got this player, let's see what he can do off an injury.
Terrell Owens receiving the key to the city before he played
before
he played a down here. Merriman's contract with Buffalo is ridiculous for what he offered. So whatever.
All right, let's look at the statistics here. The Jets, 29th in offense, 8th in defense. Bills are 10th in offense and 26th in defense. I think it's an even match. Nakia, what do you think?
It's a little weird seeing Buffalo's defense being down so low. I guess they're moving up since we got a lot of sacks. So I don't think I don't think their ranking kind of matches their potential. So.
I think it's because of all our turnovers.
Well, yeah, that too. So I don't think their ranking matches their potential. So I think it's still going to be, I guess, with them both kind of being on the bottom end, opposite sides of the ball, then it'll definitely be an interesting match to watch.
All right. The Bills have been scoring a lot this year. Are they going to keep it up at home?
I don't think this is going to be a super high scoring affair. I don't think we're going to see 35 points, but it'll be. I don't see 35 against their defense. I don't think their offense will be able to get it together to force us to score that many points. They are expecting good weather down at the Ralph this week. Mid 50s and sunny, so it'll be an interesting game to watch.
So saying if we're going to keep with the high point or offense. What do you think our strategy is? I mean, I personally think it's going to be run. I mean, looking at their lineup, I think we can run right. I mean, I think that Freddie can keep up his Pro Bowl, O.J. Simpson breaking record all total yards season. I mean, what do you think?
We've had a lot of success this season running the ball, and Rex Ryan is a defensive genius, likes to watch a lot of tape. I want to see, or I would be not surprised to see Chan Gailey try to change it up, maybe go to the spread formation a lot early on in the game, and just keep them guessing. Like I said, with nice weather, Fitzpatrick will be able to chuck the ball around, and
I think
So he had some success last week. We didn't mention that at all. 27-0, 24.
Yeah, yes, 23. Yeah,
23.
So Nakia, let me get this. He thinks that he doesn't think it's gonna be a high score. What do you think?
I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring game either. I think they're gonna run more. I don't think they're gonna test Revis too much. They might go at him once or twice just to see if they get lucky. Then they'll keep at it. But I think our best shot is to keep running the ball. Eventually, he'll get to Cromartie and Revis, and he'll get stopped. But I think he might gain a lot of yards, but I don't see a lot of scoring.
All right. Now it's time for just a little thing Randy's gonna do. Just going to tell you, since the Bills are finally maybe in the playoff picture, we'll see what happens down the road here. But we'll see. So why don't you tell us who we root for is next coming week?
This is one responsibility I did not expect to have at all at the beginning of the season. Look at this. We're talking about how the matchups go throughout the entire NFL and what the Bills need to do to squeak into the playoffs. I mean, it's been 12 bad years, and coming to an end, you almost miss it. So what we have to look at is the fact that we are in the same division as the New England Patriots. So in a way, we almost have to shoot for second place and hope that the wild card picture works out in our favor. So even though Miami is playing Kansas City and Miami's in our division, they're not going to come back and pass us by. Kansas City is a wild card contender. We need them to lose some games. So Miami, let's buck up. Cleveland versus Houston. Cleveland's not hunting us down in the wild card picture. Houston could be an issue further down the road. Cleveland needs to win. Denver versus Oakland. Tim Tebow, I've literally never rooted for him in his entire career until this week. So Tim, congratulations, you've won me over for at least a week. Don't disappoint. Green Bay versus San Diego. Green Bay looks like they're playing in a different league than the rest of us. San Diego is going to be looking for a wild card spot if they continue the way they are. Let's go Green Bay. New England versus the Giants. Of course, I couldn't even root for New England if I wanted to.
No.
They could be playing, Omar Gaddafi's Royal Guard, and I'd be rooting for Gaddafi. Cincinnati versus Tennessee is interesting because they both could be wild card contenders. We don't really know which way it's going to go. We have the game to play against Tennessee yet, and so we're going to root for Tennessee, knowing that we've already lost to the Bengals, and we could have a head-to-head victory against, or we still have the tiebreaker.
And this last one, Baltimore-Pittsburgh.
Baltimore-Pittsburgh. I'm rooting for a tie. It works out the worst for either one. It's the only way it can be.
I'm rooting for Baltimore. Baltimore, yeah, because Pittsburgh's gonna win the division.
They're winning the division.
What do you think?
I don't know.
You're a Baltimore fan.
Yes, I'm a Baltimore fan, so it's kind of hard to root for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a little torn on that one.
Okay. All right. So the Bills are 1-2 on the road so far. They have 3 road games coming up. Nakia, what do you think that's gonna? How do you think that's gonna play into the rest of the season?
I'm hoping we get it together because if we go to the playoffs, we're definitely going to have to win some road games. So I think we need to get it together. We got a couple of games that we can slip in there and win. So, I mean, Dallas and Miami are winnable games. So I think we can at least do 2-1.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Now it's time for the keys and picks of the game. We'll go for Nakia. Do you go first for key of the game?
My key is going to be I'm just going to go with run the ball. They need to run the ball consistently and figure out how to get past those, get past the front seven. I think once you get past them, then it's pretty much all day.
All right. What's your key?
It's going to be a nice day, like I said. Fitzpatrick will have a chance to chuck it around the yard. I think the key to the game is to win the battle in the trenches, have the big guys protect Fitzpatrick, make good holes for whoever's running the ball, C.J. Spiller or Freddie Jackson. And for the defense to get some pressure, with 4 guys rushing, Darius, let's see him.
That's like 3 keys. All right, my freaking key to the game is Marcel Darius and the freaking defense. Presser Sanchez. You've seen this with Tom Brady this year, the last quarterback last week. If you get to their quarterback, and he sucked last week. If you get to the quarterback, you're going to win the game. Shut the other team out. All right, now it's time for the picks of the game. Nakia, go ahead.
I am going to pick the Bills to win 23-14.
Okay, what's yours?
Bills win 24-23.
And the Bills are going to win this one 28-24.
Ooh, optimistic fans.
Yes.
All right, even though we said low score, we all kind of picked high scores.
We're a bunch of homers.
Yeah, we are. Well, we have to be. All right, join us next week for the Cowboys.
My favorite team.
My second least favorite. All right, join us next week for the Cowboys.
My favorite team. Welcome to Buffalo Bills Pregame Week 10. We only have the cream of the crop for you here this week. Nakia, Randy at your service. After the Bills got crushed this week, what went wrong, Nakia?
What I always say goes wrong with our defense. If you spread them out, they're suspect. If you put more than 2 receivers on the field and you spread them out, it's suspect. It's happened all the time. I've been saying this forever, and that's what the Jets did.
They exploited our depth, or lack thereof, on defense especially. We had Fitz trying to get the ball moving as well on offense. Rob Ryan really seems to have our number, whether it's just he's faced us so many times or he had that extra week to prepare. Rex Ryan, I apologize. But he had the extra week to prepare. Do you think that we'll fare better against his brother?
I'm not sure about that. It's funny though, because Rex had never won after a bye, so of course he gets his first win, and they break all kinds of streaks with us. But with Rex, I don't think he has the same. I mean, with Rob, I don't think he has the same kind of team. Their front four is good, but once you get past them, I don't think we'll have a problem. So I think if Fred Jackson can get through the line, then I think we're good.
Will we have to rely on Fred Jackson more this week coming up, try to run the ball more?
I think we should, because I'm one of those people who thinks the run creates the pass. So if he gets going, I think we can use him to our advantage.
I think the big lights of Dallas and that new stadium, if you just want to be a showboat there for some reason, you want to see Fitzpatrick.
Watch yourself on the 20-yard
Fitzpatrick,
flat screen.
right? Fitzpatrick dropping back, looking himself up, smiling. So maybe we're more prone to throw more. Who knows? This is a big matchup though for Chan Gailey returning back to Dallas. He was the head coach there for a long time. Well, that's not true, for a short time. Jerry Jones was really impatient, and Chad Galley was the first person to get the axe immediately, taking over after Barry Switzer. Do you think this game means more for him, or is that so far in the past it doesn't matter anymore?
I don't think it matters anymore. Just like going back to Kansas City probably wasn't a big deal to him. He's going to do his thing, and hopefully he's learned from the last couple of losses, because all of our losses I don't think really had to be. This one I think is the only one where I'm like, okay, this isn't a good loss. The other two, well, we actually got beat. The other two, I think we lost the game. So hopefully he's learned and he can come back and be better.
Now, the Cowboys sell hope almost as good as any team other than the Buffalo Bills, because that's all we have. But they always have names on their, up and down their roster. Jerry Jones accumulated some offensive weapons for sure. Out of the group, Romo, Murray, Bryant, Witten, do any of them scare you at all?
Des Bryant probably out of the whole bunch scares me, because he is good, and if Romo can, get it together, then the two of them together are great. The running back kind of scares me because we don't know anything about him. We've never seen him. He's, third string? Everybody else is hurt. So he's hungry. So he's pretty much going to do whatever he needs to do to get yards and to score.
Des Bryant does worry me. It's that number 88 on the Cowboys uniform, whether it's Drew Pearson or Michael Irvin or now Des Bryant. There's just something about that little magic there. Too bad they don't have a stop out or Aikman throwing it to him. But he's a force to be reckoned with. The Cowboys' running game has been really hit and miss this season. They've had some games where they're just out of control running the ball, and other times where they haven't got it going at all. So I think they're going to try to normalize that this week, especially against an opportunistic pass defense that the Bills run. Romo has been prone to throw interceptions. So I'm going to look for a lot of work from Murray coming up this game. We did suffer a couple of injuries. Yeah. Kyle Williams was placed on the IR. He's out for the season.
Yeah, he had surgery today.
Successful, his agent said. Huge impact on our front line. And we're losing depth at defense that we don't really can afford to lose at this point. And in the worst of all places, where there is no depth at all, Ryan Lindell, who the announcers praise as a master of the winds of Buffalo, is out. We've lost that knowledge. Do you think this will lead to more fourth down risks?
I think so, because with Lindell, you kind of know, unless it's something crazy like a 60-yarder, he's pretty much good. He might miss one or two here and there, but for the most part, Lindell was money. So I think bringing somebody in that you just signed is really going to be hard for them to adjust to, especially if they know nothing about the craziness of what goes on at Ralph Wilson Stadium.
All right. I personally think the Bills' playoffs hopes are looking slimmer and slimmer at every quarter they play at this point. It's dropping so quickly. But we do have a bigger picture that we're looking at as we look around the league and the matchups that we need to go our way to sneak our way into that 6th or 7th spot in the playoffs. We need Oakland to beat San Diego. We need Carolina to take one at home versus Tennessee. Denver to upset Kansas City. That's kind of sad that you have to go into Kansas City to upset them. Sorry, Denver fans, whoever they are. Houston versus Tampa Bay. Let's go Houston. And we need Seattle to beat up on Baltimore. There's two interesting games here that the matchups can go either way. New England versus the Jets. Big matchup, national television. Who do we root for as Bills fans?
I think we have to root for the Jets because we've already beaten New England. So we got to root for the Jets. Either way, it's terrible that we have to root for either one of them. But in this case, because we already beat New England, we got to root for the Jets.
It pains me to say I think we have to root for New England. You have to assume that they're going to win the division at this point and that we're competing for wild card spots with the Jets. And so you got to hope that the Jets don't win many more games. And then finally, Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati. Who are we rooting for there?
I don't know, because Cincinnati is quietly sneaking up, having a good record. Nobody's talking about them, but aren't they 5-3 just like we are?
Absolutely.
So it's kind of hard. I probably would root for, I guess Cincinnati, because I don't really want to play Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think it's because no one can take a redheaded quarterback seriously. I personally, my belief in karma goes way beyond any of my beliefs in football, and I don't think that rapists should succeed, so I'm rooting for Cincinnati. Topic of discussion this week. Who would you think would be a better boss to have? If you got to choose Ralph Wilson, compose ourselves. If you had to choose Ralph Wilson or Jerry Jones to be your owner, to be your boss. I mean, there's a great contrast here. Big money versus stingy old man, flashy versus won't even come out and address the crowd at halftime because he's not feeling well.
Nobody wants him to address the crowd at halftime.
So who do you think? Who would you rather have as a boss?
At this point, I think Jerry Jones. One, because I know I'm going to get paid. But then two, you got to figure Jerry Jones is going to cut you in a heartbeat if you don't perform. So you got to do what you need to do to make that money. Ralph Wilson kind of sticks with folks that you figure we should have gotten rid of like years ago. Ralph Wilson is not a one and done kind of guy like Jerry Jones is. So it's kind of a catch-22, but I think I would rather have Jerry Jones just because I know I'm going to get the money.
What I love about Jerry Jones is that he's going to have your back no matter what, like while you're in his good, on his good side. Tony Romo is stinking up that $1 billion stadium, and Jerry Jones can't say a bad thing about him in the media right now, and he's not afraid to find the camera and say it out loud. Ralph Wilson, not that way at all. Ralph Wilson doesn't really talk to the media at all. He hasn't done an interview for like 2 years straight. It's getting ugly. But he's old. But Jerry Jones also thinks that his decision making is perfect. He makes himself his own general manager. He manages the team, and I don't like working for people who are so confident in their own imperfections or their own perfection. So I think I would take Ralph Wilson sitting behind the scenes, not bothering me over Jerry Jones getting the media all the time, just to cut me at the end of the season. So keys and picks to the game. Nakia, Bills have a tough game against the Cowboys on the road. What do we have to do to win this one?
I think we have to run the ball. I think we need to run so we can create the pass.
I think we need to not be afraid of the lights, just play our game, play the game that we need to play, and let the Cowboys make their own mistakes because they often do.
Mm-hmm.
Picks for the game.
Unfortunately, I'm not picking the Bills to win this one. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think, like you said, the lights are going to get to them. So I'm actually picking Dallas 27, Bills 23.
I have a similar pick as well. Dallas 30, Buffalo 24. Enjoy the game. Might be the last time Jerry Jones and Ralph Wilson ever play against each other, from the owner boxes, that is. And it'll be interesting. Have a good week. Go further.
See you next week for the Dolphins.
I'm sorry, but I had a draft discussion today. It's really bad. Hi, and welcome to the Buffalo Bills Pregame Show for Week 11 against the Fish. Alright, top story, the Bills, last 2 games 0-2, and the Dolphins, they started to get it going, Justin. So what do you think that's going to have significance on this game?
Honestly, every game is one game at a time. The Bills have faced basically both Ryan brothers in the last 2 weeks, and I'm sure that Rex gave Rob his game plan. I'm pretty sure the Dolphins don't have that. I think that the Dolphins are an inferior team compared to the Cowboys and the Jets.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that this is a much different game, and I want to see Miami's quarterbacks just getting attacked. I want to see them going down.
I think Darius, the number 99 will definitely get in there, and I can't wait to wait for that. All right, so let's do the breakdown. How does the injuries to the offensive line affect our ability to stop the rush? Obviously, Reggie Bush, you said, we're talking about this, you said he's a one-dimensional player. What do you think they're going to do with us?
Honestly, Losing Kyle Williams is just a big hurt. Even though he wasn't playing at 100%, he was commanding a lot of respect, and the Bills were not getting rushed up the
I
middle
agree.
while he was still semi-healthy.
Now we lost Eric Wood. And
Well, that's on the other side, but to be able to stop Reggie Bush, he's not in between the tackle runner. You have to rely on your outside backers, and losing Chris Kelsey, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but you know what? He's been getting the job done this year.
yeah.
So him being hurt and not at 100%, that's going to hurt. Having Spencer Johnson in open space, why the hell would you use a D tackle as an outside backer? Makes no sense to me.
All right, let's talk about time of possession. You know, the Bills' offense, obviously, in the last 2 games, hasn't overcome the other defense. So, what do you think is going to take place? What do you think is going to take place in this game?
Well, you have to control the trenches. Losing Williams, as I was saying, hurts a lot. Darius needs to step up. Kellen Hurd needs to step up on the offensive side. Either Levitri or Urbic has big shoes to fill covering for Eric Wood. And that also means that either Chad Reinhardt or Colin Brown will probably be on the field. And they need to step up. The way that good teams stay good throughout a season is those younger guys. When the starters get hurt, they fill in. They do their job.
Now, let's bring this up point. I'm going to skip the Reggie Bush because I think he'll be minimalized. He'll maybe get a good amount of yards. But let's talk about that. The Bills have to step up. You know, these injuries,
Yes.
they've killed us. Now, we talk about this. Every team gets injuries. We know this. How do the Bills, how do their coaching staff make sure that they get back into this season?
Well, the simple thing is you got to keep the guys you do have healthy. You look at the guys that they do have on IR, those are some substantial players there. Wood and Williams and Merriman, most notable.
Yeah.
But you will have Kelsey coming back. You will have George Wilson coming back. You got to have all these people getting healthy, and you got to keep
It's a long season.
You got to
It really
keep
is.
developing your backups. That's a big thing there. You can't just solely rely on your starters. Otherwise, you end up like Indianapolis.
All right. Let's talk about Spencer Johnson. Did you talk about that? Yeah.
I
you
did mention that. Yeah.
All right.
The thing that our producer was wanting to say is, will Anthony Fasano, take advantage of Spencer Johnson and Danny Batten? I don't think that Johnson will be on the field against in obvious passing situations. It wouldn't make any sense. Danny Batten, he's a bit of a rusher, but I think he's athletic enough to give some coverage. I think that the inside backers will have their hands full more with Fasano, though.
All right, now let's talk about this. Obviously, these last 2 losses, the big question is the playoff picture still alive? And I looked on the WGR poll, and they asked that same question, which I think is why this is important. And, you know, a lot of fans said no. I think the only reason that this would not be attainable is because our division, you know, the Pats and the Jets are just so much better than us.
Oh.
The Jets shut us down. We have all these injuries, and I don't think we can keep up with the Jets, and I think the Pats is squeaking a wild card.
Realistically speaking, I was pointing out before we started filming, I don't give a crap about a playoff picture at this point in the season. Just win.
I think you got it.
That's just it. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Play one game at a time, do your job. And then at the end of the season, you'll see how the chips fall.
It's a good way of looking at it. You gotta and then you can't look into the future too much.
Well, that's just it. If you start worrying about what the team ahead of you is doing and the team over there, well,
I just think it's fun to do. And when they were winning, that was what we were able to do. And it's just kind of depressing now we can't do that.
I look at it as more, all right, you got this. All right, we're 5-2. Let's make it 6-2, as opposed to, oh crap, what are the Jets going to do? What are the Patriots going to do?
And you gotta worry about that, man.
You cannot do that, though.
That's
just it. An
better
elite
than
team
us.
Doesn't give a crap what the competition does. They just run them over.
All right, we disagree. Now let's do the topic of the session. I can't even read that.
Who do we root for in baseball, basketball, and soccer?
Okay. I am a soccer player, so I am completely into soccer. Obviously, there's no real professional sports soccer teams in this area. Root for FC Buffalo, but I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm also a Yankees fan, and I don't really follow basketball, but if I did, I guess I'd root for the Knicks.
Holy bandwagon.
I gotta go with the New York I know nothing about basketball at all.
All right. Well, for me, I'm a Blue Jay fan. I grew up in the area. I remember Joe Carter hitting the big home run off Mitch Williams. Got to rep Toronto for that. For basketball, any team that's playing the Miami Heat. That's as simple as that. I hate what they did to basketball. And for soccer, I root for Sean's rival team there.
New Man City?
No, not City. I root for Spurs. Yeah, I root for Tottenham Hotspur, so that's what where I stand as far as those three sports.
Whatever. All right. Keys and picks. My key to the game is need to get this offense going again. They've been shut down the last 2 games. They need to step it up to show the league that they're not dead. And Fitzpatrick just got that new contract. I want to see some crap out of him. All right. What's yours?
Well, you got to keep developing the backups. That's the biggest thing there. You have injured starters. Those guys that are on the field right now better do their damn jobs. That's what it comes down to. Otherwise, you know what will happen.
All right. We'll do picks right now, but I'm going to say this before I do my pick. The last 2 games I think have really been big tests for us against teams that quite honestly are some of the best teams in the NFL. So, I'm going to pick the Bills to revert back to the original, what they were doing before, and just, a high-scoring game. And I'm going to say, 34-20 Bills.
I actually agree with you there. I do think that the Bills need to get back to where they were. And, again, Dallas and New York are just better teams than the Dolphins. That's as simple as that.
Exactly. That's right.
So I think the Bills will have a reversion back to the form they had at the beginning of the season. I'm going to say right along the same lines. I'm going to say the Bills 28-21.
All right.
Squish the fish.
Squish the fish. Join us next week for the Jersey Jets.
Joyzy.
Bills Pregame Show for Week 12 against New Jersey Jets. All right, top story. Will all Bills fans get through the entire game? I doubt it. All right, top story. Battle for second place in the AFC East. Is that really a story? I don't really think that's a story because I don't think we're going to get through the game.
Yeah, it's first place for the losers. Congratulations, winner of this game.
Randy, what do you think's going to happen in this game, man?
I think the Bills are going to get blown out. They are who we thought they were. They're a terrible team. The Jets are in a different league. We're lucky for them to come visit us here, to be honest.
All right, Nakia, let's start the breakdown with someone you just kind of learned about, Craig Urbick. Is he going to be a better center than Levitri?
I don't know, because like I've always said, unless they can play together on a consistent basis, then it's not going to work. And so you're moving him from one position to another. Everybody else is hurt. Nobody's playing their natural position now. I'm like, so the whole thing is just thrown off.
All right. Now let's talk about Spiller with more reps. Can he carry the Bills like Fred Jackson did?
Our best hope is that the New Jersey Jets sign a bunch of insurance salesmen that he played against in Clemson in Division II football or whatever it is down there, and he can run all over the field.
Division II at Clemson, we're actually going to make South Carolina news if he plays.
The ACC is an underrated conference, and he had incredible highlights against, future plumbers and electricians. And it's a real shame that we have to play a professional organization like the Jets this week because our offense doesn't stand a chance against their defense. The Ryan family has our number, let's be honest, and our offense is going to get smoked.
All right. Now thinking about the offense, Nakia, our wide receivers, a lot of them injured. Most of them are probable. How do you think that's going to affect the offense?
They're all
That there
injured.
was, or there's no offense now.
Yeah, they're all injured. The only one that's left is Stevie Johnson. Everybody else is on IR and not coming back. So now we got to deal with hopefully David Nelson. He's a tight end. Hopefully he can step up. And we got Scott Chandler. But you know, really, we don't have. I mean, yeah, we just signed 2 guys, but you know, who are they? They've only been around for a couple of days, and you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I mean, it could kind of be a catch-22 because nobody has any film on them, so you don't really know how to play
Oh,
them.
there you go.
So it could be interesting.
Yes, this is a sneak attack of our 4th string wide receiver. Going into the season, we were begging for tight end play, and who would have thought coming at this point in the season that that's like the only production we're getting on our offense at all?
All right, now let's talk about how the Jets have had a little controversy themselves. QB controversy. What do you think is going to happen there?
USC quarterbacks are always overrated. The glowing example of the past decade and a half is Carson Palmer, who put together an above-average Cincinnati Bengals team for 3 years out of his career. He's not making miracles happen in Oakland. Mark Sanchez has always been overrated. The most glamorous part of his life is last year at USC banging those Hollywood broads. He's lucky to be in New York and have the spotlight on him still. And he's going to get upended by Brunell, really? Like, it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame what's going on there. But you know what? I'd still rather have Sanchez another 6 years of the joke we got going right now. Fitzpatrick's got to turn it around.
All right. Well, the Jets, their injuries to Nate Tomlinson, obviously, I saw only the one. And do you think it's going to make a difference in the game? It's going to balance out our injuries. I don't think it will.
I don't think so because now their other players are starting to step up.
Braylon Edwards out of jail?
I mean, Plexico Burress for like the first couple of games was like terrible. It was like this was a waste of money. Then all of a sudden he decides he wants to play. So
And you can catch.
yeah, I mean, so it looks like maybe he didn't get a preseason. So maybe he's finally getting in the swing of things.
Santonio Holmes can be dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, I mean he was a good player. I mean he was a Super Bowl MVP. So he has to have some kind of skills. But I don't think their injuries. Because with them, it's just 1 or 2. We have all the wide receivers.
Yeah.
Offensive line and defensive line, too. All right. This is the last topic. So I don't think the Bills are going to make the playoffs. I'll talk to both of you guys.
Honestly, the biggest highlight I have looking forward to the season was the return of the best feature the show's ever had, worse than the Bills. The playoffs are more or less over. Had we signed T.O. 3 weeks ago?
I just hope they win too.
Giggity goo.
We should do it.
We should do it still.
We should do it.
Like the season's over, but
I just want to see T.O.
I mean, he does hold the record for the longest play from scrimmage in Bills history, so it's kind of nostalgia.
So what do you think? No? Okay.
Well, I said
All right.
they were only going.
We'll go.
I said they were only going 7-9. In the beginning, I thought my 7-9 was like, wow, they might actually prove me wrong. But I think they're gonna live up to their 7-9.
They're Dick Duran here, not Dick Duran here.
The golden years of Dick Duran returning.
Years. Okay, that's awful. I don't think they're gonna make it. I just hope they win games at home because I go to every Bills game and it really sucks if they lose like badly like they have been. So
Yes.
hopefully they pull that Titans game. Coming up. All right, so let's do the keys and picks. My key to the game is actually what I stole from the producer. He says that he told me that the only way we win this game is if our defense shuts down their offense. Because we're not putting up points, honestly, because we only put up like 26 points in the last 3 games. So that's my key. What's yours?
I don't know. A miracle to happen. You need just
A miracle. Okay.
Dick Cheney to go out there, look down the end of his glasses at his team, and give the most inspirational speech in that hokey Southern accent you can imagine, and they just go there and play their butts off. Because otherwise, I just don't see it happening.
All right, Nakia, what's your key?
I think we have to run the ball. I think we need to avoid Revis Island at all times. So I think with C.J. Spiller, maybe he'll finally live up to his first round potential. So I think we need to run the ball.
Maybe look for some wildcat. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that's not gone over well this season. I don't even know why we haven't ever played much. All right, now it's time for the picks of the game. I'll go to Randy first since he already has his.
Yeah, it's a conservative choice here. I'm going to say the Jets are going to beat us 24-13, but if I wake up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it's already like way worse than that, I'm not going to be surprised at all.
My pick is the Bills are going to get blown out like 27-10, honestly. I'm not even going to give them 13 points. What's yours?
Well, I had at least given them, a couple of touchdowns. I was saying 17-30 for the Jets.
I just remember last game at home playing the Jets. It was
Yeah,
awful, and I
that
couldn't.
That was
I
terrible.
never thought I'd say this, but I missed Lindell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good kicker.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, like, what happened?
Yeah.
Alright, I guess he's injured. Okay, what else? Alright, see you next week for the Titans.
It's not going to get any worse. It's not going to get any worse.
It is.
This is the low point. It's got to be the low point.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's getting worse.
No, it's getting worse. Alright, well, we'll see you guys next week.
We'll miss you.
7-9 is great.
Makeup. Welcome to Buffalo Bills Pregame, Week 13 here in the NFL. Early December and the weather's still beautiful here in Buffalo. Gotta love it. Meh. We did not get a topic of discussion submitted this week, and it's a shame because had you submitted just one, you would have to be in the running for a $25 grand prize at the end of the season. There is free money involved, so make sure you suggest those topics. Top story this week, Queen City Miracle. The Titans have dominated the Bills for the past several years. Will the history of this matchup come to bite us in our butts? Jared.
I'm a huge believer in karma and history, as most people know from if they've seen me at all on the show. Well, anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is, yeah,
I do like it when you're here, though.
Thank you.
In front of the mic.
Yay. No, I think that the history is just going to follow us. The Titans have always had the Bills number ever since the comeback game, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I think. But yeah, it's just the Titans have always had the Bills number, and I think that the fact that Matt Hasselbeck's having a good year, Chris Johnson's starting to step up. I think overall the Titans are going to have this game, and truthfully, they have more to play for. They have the Houston Texans are running with a third-string QB right now. If anyone's going to overtake that division, it's going to be Tennessee. So
I think it has more to do with than history than what's going on right now. Hasselbeck's a huge step up in quarterback. Chris Johnson's not that he's improving as much as coming back to regular Chris Johnson form. Do you think history has anything to do with it when the Bills rosters turned over so much? Do they remember the difficulty we had against this team in the past?
No, I don't think there was too many people around when we were playing them before. So I don't think that's going to play into effect. Like you said, Chris Johnson, because he was out, is now getting into like mid-season form at this point because he missed so many weeks at the beginning of the season holding out. So I think it's going to be difficult, especially since our run defense isn't that great anyway. If he gets
Because our
up,
pass defense is amazing.
if he gets up ahead of steam, I think it's going to be another long week.
A couple of weeks ago, we were really interested in how matchups looked across the NFL, possible tiebreakers. Bills are 5-6 going into this game. Titans 6-5. Nakia, does it matter? Does it even matter that if we win this game, we have the tiebreaker?
I don't really think so because, like I said, with the Bills, unless they went out and we get some help, I don't think playoffs are in our future. And I think there are a couple of teams that will come to bite us, in the butt. I mean, Denver is winning in like the last 30 seconds of every game. I'm like,
Cardiac kids.
Don't talk about it. So we could be up, and then here comes Tim Tebow with the 5-yard touchdown run. Not even a pass; he's gonna run it in himself.
I'm waiting for the jump pass. Where did that disappear to?
So
That's got to come out of the arsenal soon enough. But enough Denver analysis.
yeah, let's not.
Jared,
Okay.
does it matter to you at all having this tiebreaker going in after this week?
I think, well, the thing is, we all know how Buffalo radio is. If the Bills win, playoff Super Bowl. If they lose, let's talk about the draft. It seems like that's every single week. It's one extreme or the other.
Knee
right?
jerk.
Exactly. So I think that if we win this game, which we will have the tiebreaker over Tennessee in the rankings, if we win this game, people will really get back on the bandwagon. Now, do I think we're going to make the playoffs? Honestly, no. But I'll tell you right now, I do believe that that'll at least be some sort of motivational thing where we might have one final push.
Sitting at 6-5, I feel so much better about the Titans' chances than us at 5-6. And us at 6-6, I still don't feel good about it. But breaking down the game, Chris Johnson is starting to improve, as we mentioned. Will he solo dominate the Bills' D, or are they going to with more balanced attack, or will the defense put up any stop?
I think they're going to use him. I'm trying to think and see who else they have on their offense to kind of help them out, and they don't really have anybody but him. There's nobody that stands out and says, okay, if he can't run, we're going to throw to this guy. There are no big names. It's pretty much just him. I don't know what happened to their receiving core, but they don't really, to me, they don't have anybody. But they don't need anybody with our defense.
Matt Hasselbeck moves to Tennessee this year, is having average year, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The Bills were turnover machines earlier in the year. Going against the experience of Matt Hasselbeck, can we hope for any return to that form, or is he going to be able to protect the ball well enough to keep our defense on the field?
Well, the problem is we haven't generated any pass rush on the quarterbacks, and any quarterbacks we've played, all of them have just sat back there and looked pretty and thrown the ball around. I personally, on another completely different note, of games blocked off, I feel kind of bad I'm not going to be able to see Hasselbeck as a Titan, because I've been kind of looking forward to seeing that.
And this is the only game he'll ever play in that jersey.
Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens next year. But what I'm saying is that like it's just a shame that I won't be able to see that. But to get back to the original point, yeah, he's gonna be able to sit back there and throw the ball around. Probably make those no-name receivers look pretty good, and they might actually get some ESPN time.
I mean, Hasselbeck, I think, would have been the Tom Brady of our generation had he not gone to Seattle and floundered with a terrible team. Like, I give all the credit in the world to Carson Palmer, who just threw his hands in the air and gave up in Cincinnati, and I can't believe Hasselbeck stuck it out as long as he could. I mean, they used to have the QB competitions during the off season that were real popular. If not winning every year, he was always like right at the top. A lot of talent. I've always admired Hasselbeck. The Titans D shut down Cam Newton, who is a playmaker and a half, surrounded by playmakers. Will they have similar success against our ragtag group of Irish quarterback-led individuals, Jared?
Well, I think Fitzpatrick will disrupt their D a little. But I think the fact that this is the second week in a row that we have that line together in their positions will help the pass rush. But I think the problem is really going to come down to the running game. We don't have a running game. Spiller is not a good running back. I don't know how else to put it. I'm trying to think of a nicer way of saying it, but I can't.
All the Clemson fans are going to get you.
That's fine. Whatever. Comment all you want. But look,
Move out of the ACC and I might take you seriously.
I don't even the whole Division II thing. Thank God we didn't get any comments on that one.
Conference, it's whatever. Carry on.
Okay, that's it. No, I think the running game, that's going to be the problem, and not so much the passing. It's just we don't have a running game.
But
Tennessee's going to take advantage of it.
And then they're just going to rush Fitzpatrick,
Yeah.
and he's going to continue to.
Yeah, they're not going to respect the running. They're not going to. Rashard Choice, negative 17 yards for the year.
Will Stevie be able to make the plays against Cortland Finnegan like he did against Darrelle Revis?
I think he can, but Cortland, I think, is a more physical player than Darrelle Revis. So it's going to be hard, and there may be a whole lot of hitting and smacking and a fight or something, because Cortland Finnegan is not going to back down. Darrelle Revis, he'll play you, and he's a good player, but Cortland Finnegan, if he can't get his way, it's going to get real ugly.
Jared, what do you think of Cortland Finnegan versus Revis?
Well, I mean, I think Reeves is the better player, but I don't see Stevie Johnson having the same really good game he had last week on Revis Island, and plus, I mean, you just can't. I don't see him repeating. I really don't.
I mean, as limited as we are on offense, we're going to need more than 80-some yards and one touchdown from Stevie Johnson. If he's going to be a #1 receiver, we really need something better than that. If we're hoping to get that same production out of him against Cortland Finnegan, I think we're talking about trouble.
He
It's
needs
all about
some.
time
He
to-
needs some stickum. I don't know what's going on with his
Oh,
hands,
yeah,
but
what's nice.
you know, we need.
We had the game. I'm going a little off topic.
We need to do
had
him
that, like 3 times.
like they did in the
Alright.
old program movie, and they made the guy carry the football around campus because he kept dropping it. That's what you need to do, Stevie.
All right, time for my favorite segment. I can't believe it's been gone for so long, and I'm so glad to have it back. Jared, cue the graphic.
And now it's time for Worse Than the Bills with Randy Williams.
All right, well, I had to do some soul searching and decide who really in the NFL could be worse than the Bills. As I said, my first preseason game, that this could be the season of Jim Kelly, number 12 years without a playoff appearance. But the good news, that does not set an NFL record. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers went from 1981 to 1997 without a playoff appearance. It was 14 consecutive years without being in the playoffs. Not only did they not go to the playoffs, simultaneously wore the ugliest jerseys, maybe in sports history. I mean, you're talking about up there at the classics, like the old blue and white Penguins jerseys, the old Astros jerseys, and every single jersey the San Diego Padres have ever worn. They made terrible mistakes. They drafted Steve Young and then traded him away when they got Vinny Testaverde, who, sitting on his bench doing curls today, might be better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's off topic. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won a Super Bowl. And I've heard more than one Buffalo Bills fan say they'd gladly trade 4 Super Bowl appearances for 1 Super Bowl victory. So it's really a toss-up. Tampa Bay, they've got such a mess of a past. And I mean, they look up to Peyton Manning's dad and just the whole family of goobers. I don't know. I'm glad to be a Bills fan as opposed to a Tampa Bay fan. So I've decided, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you are worse than the Bills. Oh, it's almost hard to say. All right, back to our game. Keys of the game. Nakia, is there anything the Bills can do to win?
I think the Bills have to run the ball. C.J. Spiller has to prove that he was worthy of a first-round pick.
Jared?
Well, Nakia did steal my keys, so I will have to say it's going to have to go back to time of possession, which is similar to running the ball, but we got to control the clock. We have to make sure we keep that that offense off the field and just dominate time of possession. That's the only way we're going to win is we have the ball longer.
I'm going to hope that Fitzpatrick takes some Harvard pride or something. I don't know, get some Yale fans in the audience to heckle him. Like, he made millions of dollars now and he hasn't done anything. I want to see something out of Fitzpatrick. Just throw a touchdown, do something
He
with
threw
Fitzpatrick.
3 last week.
But he hasn't looked good. He's been scared. He's trying to protect that, $1 million arm of his.
I don't know. I think he had 2 rough games and people were taking it too seriously.
So you think the Bills are going to win this? What's your pick?
My pick is the following. I personally think that the Bills are just not going to win the game again. I think the history is going to come back to haunt us. It's going to be 27-20 Titans.
Nakia?
I'm going with Tennessee also. I'm going with 24-20. I picked them to be 7-9 at the beginning of the season, so they got to get 3 more losses for this one.
I don't know. It hurts me to say this, but I'm choosing the Bills to win this game 24-23. It's going to be tight. But I don't have to watch it, so I don't have to worry about it.
I'm thinking of doing the Syracuse road trip, but
Oh, really?
yeah, but
Is that the closest city? Cleveland.
yeah.
Cleveland's closer.
It would be cheaper
Or is
just to
it-
show up and buy a ticket.
Yeah, it'd be cheaper. All right, next week we're playing the Chargers of San Diego. Rabbit.
San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers, Chargers, go! San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers. And thank God we don't like the Chargers because we'd have to see that crazy opening every week. Hey, it's Jared and Nakia. Welcome to the Buffalo Bills Pregame Show for Week 14 against the San Diego Superchargers. Unfortunately, Randy couldn't be here, so I, of course, threw on the Fitzpatrick jersey, and here I am. So the last game, Nakia, I listened to it on the radio. I wasn't able to, watch it, and I was listening to that. And it reminded me of classic Buffalo, where, and it's a big play, yay! And then there's a flag on the play. No, what was going on? Give us some inside information for you since you were there.
That play it was a C.J. Spiller touchdown that they called back for holding on Corey McIntyre, which I think was a bogus call. I don't really think it was holding. So that kind of put a damper on things. But to me, that was just one play that kind of messed us up. The rest of the game, it was just us, the same old stuff. We have, our torn up offensive line, so Fitzpatrick doesn't get enough time, and then you got the guys who can't catch the ball. For some reason, we've had this downward spiral, since the first 7 games.
Let's talk about the top story for the Chargers game, though, real quick. The top story for the Chargers game is, will the Chargers win the West? They just won a game after 6 losses, but it was against Jacksonville, and unless Tebow Mania keeps up, it's possible that the Chargers could still somehow win the West. Do you think it's going to happen, or do you think Denver's going to take it?
I don't know. I'm, quietly a Denver fan. So I'm kind of hoping that this whole Tebow cardiac kids thing continues. But for some reason, I'm thinking, okay, their luck may eventually run out. And San Diego's they're now turning around. They've had the 6 losses. They got lucky with, Jacksonville not having a good game. And then they come into us who we're not, as we used to be when we started the season. So we may be the second game in the streak for them. So I really don't know if they can win. It's definitely going to be an interesting race to watch.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, the West is so messed up. Any of those teams could make it by the end, though I really don't see Kansas City being one of them, but we'll find out. It's funny, what I was just about to say, the 2001 Chargers were 5-2. And then they lost all their last games, and the last game they won was when Flutie played Johnson that season. And then, so you think, oh, well, at least they're a good team, right? And then they lose all their games after that. Flutie loses 9 straight, and that was the end of the Chargers' reign. So so we take the Chargers and we compare it to the Bills and say, okay, we're just going to match them from this part of the decade. We will make the playoffs in 2014. So there you guys go. 2014, we'll be there.
I don't know if I can wait that long.
We got the Denver Broncos to fall back on. But anyway, speaking of the Chargers real quick, A.J. Smith and North Turner, rumor has it they're going to get fired at the end of the season. Do you think there's any chance they'll come back to Buffalo? Well, not North Turner, but A.J. Smith more so. Do you think?
It would be interesting because he's worked with the guy that was really good here. So, my thing is, if you're going to bring somebody back, bring back the good people. Don't bring back somebody who doesn't have a record and we know nothing about, but bring somebody who kind of worked with somebody who knows what they're doing. Even though he may not have necessarily done the job, when you work that close with somebody that's that good, then it's possible that everything's going to rub off.
Gotcha. Well, we'll find out what happens. All right, let's talk about the game a little bit. From what I heard on the radio, C.J. Spiller had a pretty decent game. And I was looking at the numbers between C.J. and Maurice Jones-Drew, and Maurice Jones-Drew was able to run for about 100 yards and had 6 catches for a touchdown against the Chargers. I know Spiller had a couple big runs. I saw the highlights, so I know they happened. Do you see Spiller being able to put up some more numbers?
I'm hoping he can. I think the Chargers defense may be a little bit better. So it may be a little tougher for him. He has to learn how to run the ball. He's one of those guys that likes to dance around and, hit the hole. You don't have to dance around in the hole. And he's one of those guys that dances. And it kind of takes away from what he could possibly be doing. So I think if he actually learns how to run the ball, which you would think a first-round draft pick could do, then he'll have a better shot. But he definitely has to run the ball because the linebackers that San Diego aren't going to let him go that easily.
Yeah, and speaking of we're facing one of our old friends, Nakia Spikes. I mean, is this a revenge game for him? I mean, you told me before we started shooting you've actually met him before, so what do you think?
I don't think it's a revenge game. I don't know. I think it would be a revenge game if it was like bad terms. But I don't remember him leaving Buffalo on bad terms. And he's still a great player. So he's just gonna do what he's always done. No matter where he's played, he's always done well. Even if he's on a horrible team, he's always done well. So I think he's just gonna continue to be consistent. And which means anybody running the ball, coming through there, or even passing the ball, he's somebody you got to look out for.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. There's also a lot of other players in the Chargers as well. They got what's his name?
Sean Phillips.
Sean Phillips, Quentin Jammer, Eric Whittle. Like those names pop out to me, and I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. So I think where we're going to win the game is probably on the defensive side. So let's talk about the defense a little bit here. For the Chargers offense, who do you think is a bigger running back threat? Ryan Matthews or Mike Tolbert? Because like, even though Tolbert's the second stringer technically, he seemed to get the bigger plays.
Yeah, he seemed to be doing better this year than Matthews has been doing when he gets the ball. You know, when he gets the ball, he handles business, and that's what you want your backup to do. You don't really want it to be a change. And, you know, and the plays you call just because it's the backup, it may be a different style, but you still want the same results. You want him to get yards, and that's what he seems to do. So I think for us, no matter who's in the game, you definitely have to make sure that everything on the defensive side is on point.
I mean, do you think, now speaking of everything being on point, do you think we'll actually be able to pick off Phillip Rivers? Because he's thrown, 17 interceptions as of the last game? So we should be able to get at least one on him, you think, right?
I'm hoping that we can get back on the ball. We were having a really good streak of takeaways early in the season. Even in some of the losses, we usually at least get one. We usually, get almost one a game. So I'm hoping that we can continue on that end of it. Jerry Spurd has to get back in, and George Wilson has pretty much disappeared.
Well, he's literally not playing
Yeah.
because he's injured.
So, we don't have him anymore. So Jerry Spurd, he had a good season last year with interception. So because we don't have George Wilson anymore, he has to step up.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, our draft picks, Justin Rogers, Aaron Williams, Sonora Searcy, they all got to step up. I know it's early, guys, but and they've done okay given the fact what we've asked them to do year one. I mean, you take the draft last year, and most of them are in, and that's pretty unlike normal. So I mean, it's horrible to say that, but that's just the way it's ended up. All right, let's jump into our Bills topic of discussion this week. It actually comes from one of our viewers. It's narrowly a Bills topic of discussion, but we'll go with it. The future of Donovan McNabb and former Buffalo Bill Terrell Owens. That's true. That really happened, remember? So Nakia, you've talked about these two before. My guess is they're in a field somewhere playing catch. But, what do you think? Their future, if any?
It's interesting because I don't think Donovan is completely done. I mean, I don't. I think he's had, he's hit a rough spot. I don't think he's been surrounded with the people that kind of make him better. At least not in Minnesota. I mean, he did have good receivers, Rashanti Shanko and Percy Harvin. They're good guys. But I don't know if they had the complete. I mean, you got Adrian Peterson, but he can run pretty much behind any line. But I don't think he really had the complete, protection and backing of the team to do what he needed to do. Now, Terrell Owens, he had a major injury, so I know people are probably scared, to touch him, which is probably his biggest setback. Now, if things go right, then maybe I could actually see Terrell Owens coming back to somebody next year. But for both of them, it's definitely going to be a rough road. I've heard Chicago maybe was talking to Donovan McNabb, which is his hometown, so I'm sure he'd probably jump at the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Houston's on their third string. So, they need a quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see if either one of them, get up off their couches this winter.
I thought Houston, my first thought was Houston.
Yeah.
But then I saw how TJ Yates played during the game, and he did good.
Yeah.
They're still winning with the third string guy. I don't think you would really want to throw a soccer wrench into that toolbox, But I gotta disagree though with the Donovan thing, because he's gone through waivers. He's been on two different teams. That's why I think I wouldn't be surprised if both these guys hang up their cleats at the end of the season. honestly, after not being able to find work. All right, let's talk about the keys and picks to the Chargers game here. Nakia, what's your key for this game?
I'm thinking that our defense is going to have to step up. They're going to have to stop Antonio Gates. They're going to have to stop the running back no matter who it is. And they're going to have to put pressure on Phillip Rivers. They're either going to get rid of the ball, get sacked, or do an interception. But they can't let him sit back there all day.
No, you're right about the defense. I mean, Jared Gaither is new to that line, so they should really put some pass rush on him. My key to the game, though, is finishing the game strong. I know I've said that before, but here comes, I think, 2 opportunities in the last week where the Bills could have put the game away. Stevie Johnson dropping the ball against the Jets, and last week, from what I heard, again, there wasn't a lot of real opportunity going 85 yards, but there was opportunity. They could have done a little bit more than they did. It seemed like they were lacklustering through the last drives, and they need, if the drive's there, do it. I know you did it already a couple times this year, but it's there. Just do it again. You did it before, you can do it again. Okay, picks the game, Kia. So how much are the Bills going to win by?
I gotta stay true to my record. I said 7-9, so I can't pick them to win this week. I hate to do it, but I cannot pick the Bills to win. So I'm actually thinking, I don't think it's gonna be a high-scoring game though. I'm actually going 17-10 San Diego.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit different route because I think that the Chargers will be able to find ways to score on us, and I think we will find ways to score on them. I'd love to see the defense step up. I just don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to go with the Chargers 28-24.
Wow.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. You had a better scores last week than I did. In our scores league, she got 6 points, I got 1. So maybe she has the upper hand on this one, and we'll find out. Next week, we're going to be playing against the Fish. Hopefully, we'll have
Snow. Bring them up here in the snow.
Okay, so we'll see you next week, and hopefully, we'll have some
Snow.
San Diego Chargers!
That is insane.
Hi, welcome to Buffalo Bills Pregame Show against the Miami Dolphins in Week 15. All right, Randy's here this week. Jared filling in for him for the main show. All right, so top story: battle for 4th place. Honestly, I kind of hope they lose so we can get a better draft pick. Nakia, what do you think?
I picked them 7-9 at the beginning of the season, so I have to pick them to win this one because the last 2 I don't think they have a chance to do so. I think they might actually be able to beat out the Dolphins in this game because they're coming up here. It's supposed to be really cold. I'm hoping it doesn't rain, but if it's really cold, I think we can freeze some fish this weekend.
All right, Jared, you mentioned we know Tony Sparano was fired. You think maybe Chance next, or?
I don't think it's going to happen, but I think you really got to look at it. And I know you guys brought up before we started shooting 15 players on IR, and we'd probably be doing a lot better if that wasn't the case. And I've seen some good game plans from Chan Gailey, but I got to look at the records. I mean, with Dick Duran 7-9, and believe it or not, that season where he got fired, Week 15 we were still in the playoffs, and this year's Week 14 was when we were eliminated. So I'm just saying, the last 2 years have been worse than the first 4 with Dick Duran. So you just got to take a look at that. I mean, that's a fact. It's just something to think about.
All right, Jared, you had mentioned the strategy for winning is running the ball. Do you think Spiller can carry the team this week?
Unfortunately, no. We do got to run the ball. If you looked at last game with Philly, that's what they did. LaShawn McCoy tore it up, and that's why they dominated. But the problem is we don't have the defense. We'll get into that later. We don't have the defense to do what Philly did because they have a pretty decent defense. And we don't have the power running back like Philly does. Spiller, I think, will do okay. I'm thinking maybe 50, 60 yards. But I don't see them doing it. I don't.
All right, Nakia, last time we played the Dolphins, they pressured Fitz a lot. So what do you think? Do you think they'll do the same thing this next game?
I mean, it worked for them before, so I would assume that they would continue to do it. We probably had a completely different line the last time we played them, so it'll be interesting to see how this version of our line matches up with their defense. We haven't given up a lot of sacks, so that's a good thing. But, you know, even though they haven't really sacked them, people have still gotten to them. So I think we have to kind of...
So how do you think we stop Miami offense then?
what do you mean?
How do the Bills stop the Miami offense?
How do the Bills stop the Miami offense?
Yeah. It's really
How do we do
what
it?
can we do it?
Actually, stopping Miami, I don't think is that hard. I mean, Reggie Bush is probably there. You got Reggie Bush and Brandon Marshall. To me, the only two people you really have to worry about on their offense. And I think if you can get those two together, I mean, like you said, Marcel Darius and Nick Barnett have had a pretty decent season. So if the two of them can get it together,
That's what I want to see.
then I think we have a pretty good chance of stopping those two players. Our secondary, unfortunately, is kind of, shot. So I'm thinking they're going to have to, stop Reggie Bush and kind of, hope for the best with the secondary.
She mentioned the secondary, and we now don't trust any of our cornerbacks, I guess. So we have Justin Rogers in there now.
Yeah.
And injuries, too, also led to that. So they attack Justin Rogers, our 7th-round rookie or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Dolphins have to in this case. I mean, Matt Moore is probably going to be looking at Brian Hartline and Devon Best most of the game. I mean, because actually we've done a pretty good job handling Brandon Marshall in both games. So they'll probably be looking at their third or second receiver, which in this case Justin Rogers is going to be covering. Now, I'm going to be surprised if we see our other. I mean, maybe McKellen will come off the 5th string. I don't know what's going on with him, but I think they're going to attack him and just try to pickpocket us. And
I just want to see a lot of Marcel Darius and Nick Barnett. That's all I want to freaking see. I mean, I met Marcel Darius a little over the week, or 2 games ago. He kind of passed me in his car and said hi, but I'm just infatuated with him now. From what I've seen on the field, he's a beast. He's one of the only bright spots in Buffalo sports today, honestly, Sabres and Bills. And it's just, I think they need to get another draft pick just like him. That's why I kind of want to see him loose. We can get a player that's has an impact, and it's going to have an impact like this the next, the whole extent of his contract. Even after that, I know we have to sign him. So that's got to happen. All right, so the topic assessment is George Edwards to blame for the defense's poor output. Nakia, what do you think to that?
I don't really think so, because I think when we had our whole entire defense, we were doing pretty good. So, I mean, like the 2 games that we lost before everybody started falling off, we lost them. The other teams didn't win them. It was kind of on us to win those games. So I honestly don't really think it's on him, because when we were at full strength, we were doing what we were supposed to do. We had little, hiccups here and there, but I wouldn't put it solely on him.
All right, Jared, let me just do a counterpoint here then. They've had lopsided losses.
oh yeah.
A lot more than last season. And could you blame that on George Edwards? Maybe, but I mean,
I gotta disagree, Nakia. Because I'm looking at those games where we had good defense, and it was against the Chiefs and against the Redskins. Now, when we played the Chiefs, we were playing against an injured Matt Castle. They did nothing on offense that game. And then you looked at the Washington game, Johnny Beck. Johnny Beck was horrible. I look at that and I'm thinking, George Edwards did okay when we were playing against really crappy offenses, so anyone could have stepped in there and done it. So I think that needs to be changed. I really think there needs to be a stronger defensive mind, and I think that's part of it. I think it's mental.
I think they figured George Edwards out. Honestly, they were giving him a bunch of yards in the Patriots game, and the reason they won that was his turnovers. And you could say that was maybe a result of us having all of our cornerbacks in and all of our defensive players. But honestly, I think George Edwards is out the door, so I disagree though. All right.
Sorry.
And now let's do a worst of the Bills segment from Randy.
After last week's catastrophe, it is not a joy to do worse than the Bills. I searched up and down all the record books, and I could not find a team that I would deem worse than this franchise here in Buffalo. So I searched my memory banks, remembered back in 1996 when I played on the Eden North Collins Little League Bears, a team that went 0-10 and managed to score 2 touchdowns the entire season. That means we averaged 1.4 points a game. Not only did we lose, we were humiliated time and time again, and we all learned a lot of lessons about good sportsmanship. So, my fellow teammates on the 1996 Eden North Collins Little League Bears, we are the only team that I can think of that could possibly be worse than the Bills.
And now it's time for the keys of the game. My key to the game is honestly score more points than the Dolphins, because honestly we've been getting blown out and I don't think we can stop other teams. So if we can get some points on the board, get the Ralph fired up, maybe we get a chance. Nakia, what do you think?
I'm with you on that one, but in the same line, I think C.J. Spiller has to prove himself. He's a first-round draft pick, and when you're playing against a defense that's okay and not that great, then you have to take advantage of them. So I think the key is going to be C.J. finally stepping up and showing that he's worth the first-round draft pick.
All right, Jerry, what's your key?
My key is sacking the quarterback. We got to see your favorite player in the whole wide world, Marcel Darius and Nick Barnett, get through that offensive line of the Dolphins and just disrupt Matt Moore. If you disrupt Matt Moore, they're going to not have a passing game. They're going to rely on Reggie Bush, and that's not going to get it done either. Disrupt Matt Moore, we win the game.
All right, now time for the picks of the game. My pick to the game is Bills lose a close one, 23-20. What's yours?
I have them winning a close one, 27-24.
All right, and what's yours?
I'm going with a W as well. This will be the last one of the year, but we're going to get it. It's going to be 20-17.
All right, see you next week for Tebow time / Lord and Savior. Makeup.
Where does that go?
Hello, America and the rest of the world, and happy holidays to you all, and welcome to the Buffalo Bills Pregame Show for Week 16 against the Denver Broncos. Now, we all remember from the start that this one over here is secretly a Broncos fan. We learned that literally the first time we ever saw her on camera, and as you can see, she's sporting her dotted little Bronco thing she has going on. But we'll get to that, I guess, a little bit later. And as you can tell, no one else showed up because of that. There you go. Let's continue. Okay, the top story of this game, let's see. So what do you think about this whole Tebow thing that's been going on? As a Broncos fan, you probably have to admit that their winning streak was pretty
Yeah, I
amazing
mean,
to see.
since Tebow came in, they are 7-2. So, you know, I don't think that has anything to do with what, he's doing. The defense up until last week was kind of stepping up, but for some reason, they fell off on Sunday. But, I haven't figured out why people haven't thought like fourth quarter Tebow's going to run a touchdown in the 47-yard line. He's done it almost every single game they've won, and nobody's figured it out. So let's see if the Bills do.
Yeah, it all depends if Chan does his coaching, which we're going to get into in a couple seconds here. Because I broke down the game. I decided to scout the game. I went to Applebee's to watch the game because it wasn't on TV if you were in the Buffalo area. They put the Jets and Philly game on. I don't know why. That was the dumbest thing they could have possibly done. But anyway, so let's break down the game a little bit. The Patriots scored over 40 points last week on the Broncos. You even mentioned this before we start taping that the defense broke down. But they have some really good defensive players. They got Elvis Duberville, they got Von Miller,
Champ Bailey.
Bailey. I mean, so do we think that the Bills, with Chan Gailey's past happiness, could somehow duplicate what the Patriots did?
Only reason why I don't think so, I think with the Patriots, they had the tight ends. I mean, Gronkowski's a great player, and a lot of people don't really know how to plan for him. So not only do they have receivers, but they got this awesome tight end who's probably close to their leading receiver on the team. So I don't think they really knew how to, game plan for him and everybody else. So I think that might have been part of the breakdown with the defense on Sunday. But I mean, with the Bills, everybody knows what we got coming. Everybody knows everybody's hurt. We're down to C.J. Spiller, Stevie Johnson, and who was the other guy? Hagan, I think he might have played, or somebody else.
Yeah.
So, we got a bunch of no-names, which you would kind of think would play to our advantage because there's not a lot of film on.
So, if you look at the Denver offense, Tebow's offense is basically designed for him, from what I saw when I watched the game. There was a lot of options, not a lot of passes, and let's face it, in high school and college football, you see more running than you do passing. That's just the name of the game. So, and the Bills, every time I've ever seen the Bills defense fight an option, they fall for it. And all they do is run Tebow and run a double back option, and I'm thinking, what are the Bills going to do? So, speak as a Bills fan for a second, what do you think's going to happen here?
I'm hoping because Denver has done it so much that they pay attention. They know that this is what's going to happen, so you game plan for that. To me, they run a college-style offense because they made sure the offense fit him. That's what you're supposed to do. If you got a good player, you kind of tailor things around him because you want him to be successful, and that's what they've done. So you're hoping there's enough film to figure out this is all they do. So the Bills need to make sure that they study and pay attention to what I guess nobody else in the league the last 9 weeks paid attention to, except 2 teams.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there's 2 players that might make a huge impact on this game besides Tim Tebow. There's Marcel Darius and Willis McGahee. Both are listed as injured somewhat right now. McGahee a little bit worse. But my thought is, because now Darius, he was supposed to be drafted by the Broncos, but they passed him up for Von Miller. So he really wants to hurt the Broncos to be able to play. He said this. And McGahee obviously has his history in Buffalo. He hated the city for some stupid reason. So, what impact do you see those 2 players making?
If McGahee plays, I think it's going to be interesting because, like you said, he dogged Buffalo. And the one thing we don't like is people dogging our city. Mm-hmm. So, I think it could be, I guess it kind of could turn into an ugly game if they run him a lot because they're going to go after him. It's like, you dogged our city. And now you're coming back, so it's payback time for us because you didn't want to be here. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully Marcel Darius plays because he is a good player, and I do want to see him play. You never want to play against backups to get a win. You want to play against the best. So I'm hoping that he does play.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too. It could be a double advantage for the Bills, like taking revenge on McGahee and let Darius go out and beat up on Tebow and show them what they missed out on. Alright, so let's get into our Bills topic of discussion for this week, coming from one of our YouTube viewers. It's about our favorite topic of all time, the draft. What to do in the 2012 draft. What's your general thoughts? What should we pick?
I don't know. With all the injuries, I'm thinking we need a receiver because we paid Fitzpatrick, so getting rid of him at this point kind of is senseless because you paid him, which you let him know you had confidence in him. But our receiving core is pretty much gone. So you need somebody who can come in and play. So it'll be interesting to see what the receiving class looks like. But right now, position-wise, I would definitely say we need some receivers.
Yeah, definitely. It would be nice to have a definite solid number 1 and number 2. I know we got Marcus Easley still trying to not be injured this season. That would be nice to see. We also got Parrish. I mean, a lot of our receivers got injured early on. I would definitely say, kind of in the same respect, I think we need another offensive lineman and we need another outside linebacker because Merriman's probably going to get hurt again, so we need to be prepared for that. We need to have, I would be happy if we picked a first rounder on outside linebacker, even though the rumor has we might be going back to 4-3. It'd be nice to have that guy on the outside, so if Merriman goes down again, we can just throw him in, or vice versa, or whatever. Just have more depth there, and plus, losing the entire line if one guy goes down and Eric Wood is horrible as well.
Yeah.
So we need another stronger presence on the line so that the line won't be an issue from now on.
Definitely.
So for the first ever time here in Bills pregame, we got a key for the Bills and a key for the Broncos. What's your key for the Broncos?
The key for the Broncos is the defense needs to get back on track. For some reason last week, it did not work out. I don't know what happened, but the Bills are not the Patriots, so if they can get back on track, and with Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing interceptions, Champ Valley can have a really good game.
Yep, and alongside that, well, even though it really isn't, my key to the game is you gotta disrupt, have turnovers. That's really the only thing you gotta do. Like, the Patriots took a lead on the Broncos because they had a lot of turnovers. And I think if you disrupt Tebow in the background a few times and, take advantage of that, we might actually get the ball more. We gotta control the clock with turnovers. That's what we've done earlier this season. We have to do it again. Okay, what is your pick for the game?
Of course, I'm going with the Broncos. They're going to win this. It's going to be last-minute touchdown by Tebow. As always, I'm going with 30-23.
30-23. That was the last time we beat the Broncos. It was 30-23. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills winning this game 31-28 somehow. Don't ask me how. I don't know. So next week we have our season finale against the Patriots. Hopefully we'll have our entire cast here back, so you don't have to see me again. And that's pretty much it. So, and have a happy holiday, and hope you all have some time off and have, stay healthy and all that good stuff. So, Nakia, I'll give you the last word.
The Broncos.
Bills Pregame Show for the last week of the season. That really sucks.
It's
I'm sorry.
We made it.
All right. Bills are playing the Patriots, as we know. And Patriots, they need to win this to have home field advantage. So, Nakia, what do you think how that's gonna affect how badly we get destroyed by the Patriots?
I think it's going to be another day at the office for the Patriots. Like you were saying before, Gronkowski will probably have 4 touchdowns. Hernandez might add a couple, and it's not going to be a pretty game. Even though they don't have to destroy us, Bill Belichick knows nothing about the mercy rule.
All right, you know what? And I want to go be a little optimistic. I'm saying they're going to get destroyed, but I'm saying if the Bills, Randy, if the Bills had any chance of winning this, what would be a key to the game to winning the game? If they could win.
If they could win, I don't know. They'd have to get their best game ever out
Fitzpatrick would have to play.
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Brandon Cotu would have to kick every field goal out of his 9. Our third string kicker.
That should be fun.
We just signed him off the street. If he goes down, Buddy Nix, I'm available. I did punt in high school, so I'm not without complete experience.
Oh, all right.
I would take one NFL game check to be out there on the field one time, whatever. I just don't see us winning. The Patriots have a very strong reputation for being calm, cool, collected, but they do not like losing to the Bills. And I think that still burns in their craw from earlier this season. And Belichick and Brady have had this game circled. They're looking forward to just being merciless in front of a home crowd to ensure home field advantage. I don't like.
All right. So now that we have our basically our picks taken, let's do our picks. And I'm gonna pick the Bills to get demolished 34-10. How about you?
I think we're going to score just a little bit more than that, but I'm actually going 38-13. I think maybe Brandon's going to come off the street and do better.
Okay. And how about you?
A lot of Brandon fans already. Go Cotu. 31-20 Bills, or Patriots. The Bills are going to get beat bad.
All right. Now this show is really the last 2 years or whatever amount of years we've done it. It's really been 3. It's been about season review. So let's do this for the Bills right now. Where are the Bills 10 years from now, guys? I think, I don't know if the world will be happening by then, but where do you think they are 10 years from now? I can't even think about that.
It's strange because even though I want them to be here, for some strange reason, 10 years from now, Ralph Wilson probably won't still be alive, which means the Bills may not be in Buffalo.
All right, that was really
10 years from now.
Okay.
10 years from now, Ralph. I love you for bringing the Bills here and everything, but he's not going to be alive in 10 years.
No!
Maybe the Mexico City Bills, maybe like the Beijing.
All right,
Bills,
you know what? I'm going to be optimistic.
The St. Petersburg Bills. The NFL is only going to continue to expand, and there's going to be an international market. And when the international team, like when China wants an NFL team, is there any way Buffalo can compete? Not even a drop in a bucket. So
I don't think that the NFL can expand that way because of flying and the way the economy's going. I don't think that'll happen. I think that the juggernaut of the NFL is going to have to downsize a little bit, or not downsize, but not expand like you guys are saying. I just think that's how the economy's going. I'm basing that off that. 10 years from now, I think that the Bills have a brand new owner. I think they have a bright future from this crap that we've been putting up with. I've never seen the Bills being good, and that's why I have to be a little optimistic about the Bills. Obviously, you're not, because we can see what you just did. All right. Let's see here. Expected or unexpected? This past year, I will say this. I expected the Bills to be 6-10, so that was my expected. What about yours?
I had them at 7-9, so they've,
Which is
done a little worse than what I expected. Not much, but I didn't expect them to be good this year. So I was hoping that they'd get it together and start building and maybe be better next year. I'm not so sure it's going to happen either.
Am I unexpected? Oh wait, sorry, expected.
I predicted 3.5 wins for the Bills this year. So they did a little bit better than I expected, I guess. I thought they were going to be just a miserable team to watch, and as we all said earlier this season, for a couple weeks, it was as exciting as it ever got football-wise here in Buffalo in a long time. So they did better than I expected, but the feeling that we feel now at the end of the season is exactly how I expected to feel. So, all things work out in the end in Bills land.
You know what? My unexpected, I think, is definitely. I didn't expect the way they did it. I'm sure, as most fans, who would have thought, we went 5-2 our first 7 games, and we go into that bye week thinking, all right, maybe we can do something here, and we fall apart. What about you, Nakia?
I'm with you. I wasn't expecting them to go 5-2, but I was hoping, okay, they're on a roll, they get a week off. We had a few injuries before that, but not as many. So I'm kind of, I don't know. It's like you said, it's kind of weird that you go into a bye week and you come back off worse than it was in the beginning.
It's awful. How about you? Unexpected.
Unexpected was the fact that they had us all excited midway through the season that we
So
thought they
same
had
as us,
playoff
yeah.
chance. Yeah.
All right. Now we'll do what we do. It's called best and worst moments. I think. Let me see here. Worst moment. Wow. Worst moment, and I don't really remember it, but it was a drop pass. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, Stevie Johnson's drop pass against the Jets. That was the worst freaking moment, because that was the moment I was just like, even though Fitzpatrick isn't playing that well, and he wasn't that game, he hits a wide open receiver, and he's about to go running for a touchdown, and he drops the ball. That's my worst moment. I'll think of a best one. It's gonna be hard.
And it's kind of where the wheels fell off for the season too. Like after that, it just seems like we couldn't do anything right at all.
All right. Well, how about you do your best or worst one, I guess. But
the best moment was beating the Patriots, hands down. There was a monkey that we had on our back forever. Every Bills fan knew it. Every Patriots fan knew it. The Patriots knew it. I mean, there's new guys to the Bills, but it just felt like all the time we just don't beat the Patriots. And to win there, it was really good. 1A for best moment might be beating TR Rich or TR Tebow. Having him come into our house and get beat where the air's so thick and he can breathe so well. I don't know. I enjoyed that a little bit too. But beating the Patriots was better for me. Worst moments, Fitzpatrick getting that contract and then just falling to pieces. I mean,
that's a good one.
It's so embarrassing that Ralph Wilson cannot, for his life, sign an extension and have his players come through.
All right. My best one actually, obviously, is the Patriots season or beating the Patriots. Sorry. Honestly, I said if the Bills went 1-15 and they beat the Patriots at that home game, that would have made my season. They could lose every single game and get their best and get Andrew Luck. I would have been happy. You know, and I'm going to be miserable the whole season, but you know what? They beat the Pats, so that's my best one. What about yours, best and worst?
I can honestly probably say the worst was probably the last person to get injured, and that was the kicker. Because to me, everybody, so he didn't get hurt, he just kind of fell off like everybody else did, but that was like the worst. Once he got hurt, everybody else just kind of fell in line, and we're just not going to do anything. Everybody else you kind of replace, but you can't replace him.
I didn't think that, like, that'd be such a big deal, losing your kickers.
Yeah.
I think it's a moral defeat though. Like
Yeah.
everyone's hurt. Like even our kickers hurt. Like what
Yeah.
can we do here? Like there's something about it.
The best, I probably would agree with you guys, was beating the Patriots, even though I wasn't there to see it. I heard it. So I think that was probably the best, especially the way we won. It wasn't like it was an actually good game. So I think that was probably my best.
All right, let's do biggest surprises of the year. And let's see, my biggest surprise was probably the fact that, you know, we had hope for a little while. You know, the 19 years I've been alive, as far as I can remember, I've never really had hope in the Bills except for that season that they lost the Steelers that one game. That's the last season I can think, well, we had hope. That was like my biggest surprise. Nakia, how about you?
I was shocked at the 5-2 start. I didn't think we could. I didn't think we were going to beat the Patriots. I mean, what has it been, 7-8 years at least?
11. So like 12 straight games.
Since we beat the Patriots. So I'm surprised at their start, and I'm also surprised at the finish. I mean, we had so many injuries. We've had injuries before, but for something's going on where everybody's hurt.
Yeah, it was crazy. And all right, what's yours?
I think Freddie Jackson coming out as like an elite running back in the
Oh, yeah,
NFL is
definitely.
a huge story. A co-college alumni coming out of like not a Division I school at all, out of nowhere, and he's really proven himself to be someone special.
They were talking about him for being MVP in the league at that point.
Absolutely, when we were doing well, and that's a fantastic place for me. We haven't had anyone like that since Jim Kelly, so I think Freddie Jackson will go down for me as like the breakout positive surprise for the season. Of course, there's negative things to say.
All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna probably do Super Bowl. We have 1 minute left. Honestly, I'm picking very surprised team only because I don't know if Joe Flacco can perform and get them in the Super Bowl. But I'm picking Green Bay and the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Nakia, I think you're doing the same thing as me.
Yeah, that was definitely my pick.
And how about you?
You both picked Green Bay, and I don't see San Francisco beating Green Bay in Green Bay, but to be different, I'm going to go against the grain and say San Francisco versus Houston. Go Texans.
Wait, oh, okay, yeah, I guess.
You'll lie?
I guess. All right. You know, it's been fun doing it these past couple years. Hopefully we'll see you next season. We don't know. But I think we will, honestly. And we'll see you next time, actually, for the Super Bowl show. We'll say our goodbyes then, I guess. It's been
our contest winner for the topic of discussion will be announced Super Bowl show, so be sure to tune in a bunch of weeks, a month.
Guys, thanks for watching. It's been fun. We'll see you in the Super Bowl show.
Adieu.